It is week 18 in the NFL. Welcome to our NFL Beat the Line show here on Pub Sports Radio. I had the bounce back week that I needed desperately. It made a nice dent in what I lost in week 16. I mean, it didn't bring it all back, but 8-3 plus 4.7 units, and we have a very, very tricky Week 18 card. My co-host with me every Tuesday night, Rob Bebenek in action. How are you, Bebsie?
I'm good. And you know what, Jimmy? I finally realized something, and I wondered this the very first time I saw the intro to the show, and I finally put it together. Mark Sanchez comes up as number 6, and it's because of Jose. That's why. The first time I saw it, I was like, one of these does not belong. And now I finally today I was like, oh yeah, Jose likes that team.
Yeah, he's got a big smile backstage. Nice way to start off the show, Bebsy. I'm sick. I've made the long trip back to Parkdale from Los Angeles, and I'm sick. I was given a gift, Black Barrel Jameson from none other than Nutflush Allen, and I'm gonna lean on my friend Jameson here. I also live on Jameson Avenue, or the pigeons fuck on Jameson Avenue, however you want to put it. And I'm going to lean on this JMO to get me through the show. I'm not feeling well, but we're coming off a winning week, and I want to fight the good fight. And I pushed hard to make sure that each and every game was capped because there's a lot of moving parts in week 18. But this is to you guys for supporting the show, and to Nutflush Allen for the very kind Christmas gift. Let's give it a swig.
I heard that if you drink enough Jameson, you can't get sick.
I need it to fight through this show. We got a great group joining us. Real Deal Prime in the house. There's Dennis Garcia. Says, not sure how long I'll be around. If you guys roll with Dennis Garcia on our Sunday shows, he always gives you the only bet you will need today. He puts that in the chat. And it was impressive work from... He ended up just squeaking in there, but the bet was right on. He had the Falcons plus 14.5 was the only bet you would need today. Now they lost by 14, but it was the right play. I mean, they almost won that game, and I got very fortunate to hit the under 44.5. We will go over all of that in a second. Terry, but shout out to Dennis Garcia, hell of a capper. Terry Walker, Gerald Jones, Jared T.G. in the house. Prince of the City says you're finally back in the lockdown country. Yeah. And there is Slatsy. Saying after seeing Jimmy today, thought he would be doubtful for tonight's show. What a gamer! I was messaging Jose back and forth at about 3:00. I thought I was going to let go of it, but the key thing that I always do is I keep working. So at least the decision won't be made because I didn't do the work we made because I feel sick. So I kept working. I battled through, and we're ready to go. There is Nutflush Allen. And thank you, Nutflush, for the very, very sweet gift. Okay, let's do a quick review of the week that was. I had the bounce back that I so desperately needed. It's pretty amazing that I've won 9 of the last 10 weeks, and I'm negative units overall in the season. I mean, that's very hard to do. That is very hard to do. 103 and 94, 52.3%, down 1.25 units, ROI minus 0.63%, coming off an 8-3 plus 4.7 unit a week. Atlanta, Buffalo under 44.5, cashed. Miami, Tennessee under 41, cashed. Baltimore plus 3.5, cashed. New Orleans minus 6.5, cashed. Detroit plus 7 was a loser. Washington plus 4.5. Market went way against me, but felt good, cashed. Minnesota team total under 13.5. was very easy. Minnesota Green Bay under 42.5 was a loser. My heart broke for you, Bebsy, because you had the 47.5 at plus 103, and it ended at 47. There were still points scored, and I thought you were going to get there. Baltimore plus 7. Shout out to Clint for making me double down on the Ravens, and Arizona plus 6.5. Bebsy, the Chiefs and Dolphins hurt you badly. Your Jaguars team total under was spectacular bet, and I don't know why I didn't bet it. And it was 12.5 on the morning of Sunday, or the night before. And then it was 10.5, before the show started. But I could have moved on it at 12.5. I was jealous of your 13.5. Buccaneers and Cowboys hurt you. That Carolina and New Orleans under 38.5 was gorgeous. And then the Lions and Green Bay over. Drinking Hand in the house. Great to see you, Drinking Hand, giving us a happy new year. All right. And Dennis goes, if you go back, that bet has done very well on your Sunday show, Jimmy, including a pair of double-digit outright winners. I know it has, Dennis, and that's why I wanted to give you a shout-out to get things rolling. Bebsy, it is a very tricky week 18. Those of you who've capped with me for a long time know that 2 years ago I was having quite a nice season. I was up 9 units going into week 17, and I got destroyed. Maybe that was 3 years ago. 3 years ago, destroyed. It was at the time it was my worst week of the year until I beat it on week 16 this year. And I'm hesitant. I'm hesitant to make moves. Well, what are your feelings about week 18, and do you think there are angles to cash with?
There's no doubt that it's a tough week, given just the sheer number of teams that don't have anything to play for, other than pride, which many of these guys do. So I think there are angles. It is just a tougher week in general, though. But that's why we do this, Jimmy. That's why we do this. That's why we meet, and then all these sharp cappers here, we congregate, we talk things over, and we get it done. We get work done. So let's stop talking about how tough the fucking week is and just attack the card.
I love it. I love it. So we're going to need help from everybody in the chat. It's imperative to know exactly who has something to play for and who will be resting their starters. Now, the market will indicate what's going on, but it's important to go over it. So we need to all work together here. Gerald Jones says season payouts next week in local contest, best entry, 106 wins, 90 losses, top 15, top 20 payout. Nice job, Gerald Jones. All right, let's get to work now. We're going to start. There's 2 games on Saturday. 2 games on Saturday. We're going to start Saturday, January 8th, 4:30 p.m. Eastern. Kansas City Chiefs, 11-5, 4-3 on the road at Denver Broncos, 7-9, 4-4 at home. We're at Mile High in Denver, Colorado. Razor Sharp Pick says, wake me up when we get to the divisional rounds. Go, Pack, go. What up, fellas? You have a very good football team on your hands, Razor, in a very comfortable spot. All the games go through Lambeau until the Super Bowl. You must be feeling pretty good about your thoughts here. Christopher Comentini, exactly. So this is like capping bowl games. Exactly. Now, because of the horrific week I had, I think it was 3 years ago, I'm going to be hesitant. But if there's a spot like we believe Kansas State is tonight in the Tax Act Bowl, let's fire away. Let's start with the market move here. We have for the Chiefs Broncos, we've got, where the hell is it? Oh my God, do I have to really go back? Sorry, I've got to go back to what a joke this is. It's not even going to give me the all right. It's not going to give it to me. Okay, I'll have to go get it myself. Unbelievable. What a joke this site has become. What a joke this site has become. I'm going to give you the market moves here in a second. I've got to pull it up from a different site here. But let's talk about where the cash lies in Chiefs Broncos. We have 4,640 tickets in. 83% of the tickets are on the Chiefs. 86% of tickets are on the over, and 66% of the cash is on the over. 34% of the cash is on the under, with just 14%. Very interesting. Prince of the City says, I would say definitely KC first half. They will come out after that loss and then look at the Titans score. The Chiefs coming off a disappointing 34-31 loss at Cincinnati to snap their 8-game winning streak and fall out of the top seed in the AFC, a spot that Tennessee now controls. Joe Burrow had more passing yards to Jamar Chase than Mahomes had in the entire game. Mahomes finished 26 of 35 for 259 yards, 2 touchdowns, 0 interceptions. He threw 2 first-quarter touchdown passes and didn't throw another one. McCole Hardman caught 1 pass for 53 yards to lead the team in receiving. Tyreek Hill was next with 6 receptions for 40 yards. Travis Kelce caught 5 passes for 25 yards and a touchdown. Kelce caught a pass for his 125th straight game. Darrell Williams rushed for 88 yards and scored twice. The Chiefs had 4 sacks, 10 quarterback hits, but their secondary was exposed. Right tackle Lucas Nang suffered a knee injury in the first quarter. He did not return. He is believed to have suffered a torn patella tendon in his left knee. That would end his season. So we're expecting right tackle Lucas Nang to be done for the year. Clyde Edwards-Helaire was inactive last week, questionable this week. Kansas City can still secure the AFC's top seed with a victory and a loss by Tennessee, which plays at Houston this Sunday coming up. Dennis Garcia says, lean Denver, but I don't trust them to score. We'll probably bet the under. Defensively, Denver will show up because it's KC and they're at home. Again, not sure they can score under. Take it away here with just a breakdown on these Kansas City Chiefs, Bebsie. What are your thoughts on that loss to the Bengals, and do they come out firing here?
Look, the loss to the Bengals was I was surprised by it. Obviously, I did not see the Bengals playing that well. I didn't see them stepping up as well as they did. Joe Burrow is proving a lot of people. Well, everyone thought he'd be good, proving me wrong that he could really show up in that spot against a veteran Kansas City Chiefs team. But I kind of agree with Prince, and I kind of agree with Dennis. Maybe a little bit more with Dennis here. I do think that they are going to come out hot. I don't know if, I mean, they're going to know what the Tennessee score is. I think it's more to the fact that Denver will come out, play hard for their coach that's probably gone. I don't think there's animosity. I think they probably like Vic Fangio. He is a defensive-minded coach. That defense is very good, and Denver is at home. So KC, I think, is going to have a tough time scoring against this Broncos team. I think playing for pride, playing for their coach, it's really their offense and their quarterback situation that could very well get Fangio fired. And I guess it's kind of his fault because they took Surtain instead of a quarterback when there was two quarterbacks still on the table. But I do think it's a little bit of what Dennis said and a little bit of what Prince said.
But we're not going to know the Titans score. Titans play on Sunday. So this
this is a Saturday game. So yes. So it's still I still think they come out hot.
I agree. Now, for whatever reason, I can't pull up the market moves on this spot, but we have the Chiefs as 10-point favorites. This total at 44.5. The first half is Chiefs minus 6.5 at minus 115. No worries, Prince of the City. So it feels like that Chiefs early might be the spot. Let's keep discussing this, and let's talk about these Denver Broncos coming in off an ugly 34-13 loss at the Chargers. Denver's lost 4 of its last 5, eliminated from playoff contention, assured of its 5th straight losing season, missing Teddy Bridgewater for the 2nd straight week. And I'm supposed to pull up the IR in this spot, but it looks like his season is over, and we're going to see more Drew Lock. Let me just verify that here in a second with these Broncos. Here we go. Bridgewater was listed as a non-participant in Tuesday's estimated practice report. I don't expect him to be playing here. So Lock,
I don't know why he would.
Yeah, I agree. Lock, 18-25, 245 yards, 1 touchdown. Expected to start Saturday's game against the Chiefs. Noah Fant led receivers with 6 catches for 92 yards. Cortland Sutton had 3 catches for 60 yards. Melvin Gordon ran 10 times for 43 yards. Caught 3 passes for 29 yards. The defense couldn't get stops or pressure. They had 5 defensive starters out. They finished with 0 sacks and 3 quarterback hits. And Dalton Risner suffered an elbow injury on the opening drive and did not return. He suffered a partial UCL tear, but it won't require surgery. He will not be playing. So let's go over the issues because there's a ton of them with this Denver team. A ton of them. I mean, there's almost not enough room. This is who's on the reserve COVID list. Offensive tackle Calvin Anderson. Safety Caden Stearns. Linebacker Stephen Weatherly. Cornerback Bryce Callahan. Cornerback Mike Ford. Offensive tackle Bobby Massey. Wide receiver Jerry Jeudy. A linebacker, Bradley Chubb. Linebacker, Baron Browning. Linebacker, Jonathan Cooper. Defensive tackle, McTelvin Ajim. Wide receiver, Tim Patrick. Place kicker, Brandon McManus. Punter, Sam Martin. I mean, they're an absolute mess right now. An absolute mess. So do we just take the Chiefs first half minus 6.5 and call it a day?
I mean, I think that's the sharpest look you're going to get out of this. I do understand why Dennis has an inkling to play the under in this. I'm not sure I would. Just because you can really... I can see Kansas City putting the throttle down in this one. They are still potentially a first overall candidate. So I don't know. I think the play would be first half Kansas City more so than the under. And I don't know. I just don't know if I want to touch a divisional game on the road, double-digit favorite. But first half, minus 6.5, I can get there.
Yeah, I think it's a Chiefs smash and grab. I think they're gonna. I know that Tennessee's in Houston, but
If the Chiefs break this defense early, which is quite possible, because they don't have anything to play for other than pride, and their offense isn't going to do anything. And I feel sorry for guys like Jerry Jeudy and more so Cortland Sutton. So I think Cortland Sutton is probably the best kept secret in football right now. That guy, if he had a quarterback, I think that guy would be an absolute beast. So I can see them just being demoralized early. And in that case, the Chiefs are going to win by, 20 plus.
Razor says they either totally dominate or play down to Denver's level. I guess we got to keep an eye on that COVID list for the Broncos. But and look, I don't want to have a ton of action. And the Chiefs are going to be playing Week 18. They're going to be playing Week 19 now because they lost to the Bengals. I expect them to take it out on these Broncos. And the Broncos are just hurting right now. Jared TG says Broncos have very good defense, but hopefully Broncos lose and Shermer is fired immediately. Gerald Jones says Denver team total under a look as well. Okay, I'm going to spend some more time,
I like that. I like that angle from Gerald Jones. That is a smart look too. I'm not sure what that number is right now, but
well, let's see what Pinnacle is hanging quickly, and then we'll move on to the next spot. We can't spend too much time on it. We probably spent enough at this point, but let's figure out what this is here. Here we go. Over to Pinnacle, and we have Broncos Chiefs. The team total for the Broncos is 16.5. 16.5. Nufflechan says if we see the same body language that we saw from the Browns, the Chiefs will score 35 easily. Huh. All right, let's move on. I feel like the Chiefs smash and grab to get it rolling. Angry about that loss to the Bengals. Show out. But I don't know how much action I want to have going into Week 18, but it feels like this is a spot that I would be comfortable backing. All right, let's keep rolling. Bebsie, I'm sweating out. I'm not sure what I'm sweating out. Flu, sickness, something. Maybe it's COVID I'm sweating. I have no idea what I'm sweating out. But I'm going to open up this game, and then I'm going to give you the full. We're going to give you full, and I'm going to go put on the AC real quickly, and then I'll jump back in. Let's go. 8:15 p.m. Eastern. Dallas Cowboys at Philadelphia Eagles. We have the Cowboys as 7-point favorites right now, and a total at 42.5. And neither team has anything to play for here, as far as I know. But if I'm making mistakes on any of this stuff, please jump in. Cowboys 11-5, 6-2 on the road. Philadelphia Eagles 9-7, 3-4 at home at Lincoln Financial Field in Philadelphia, Pennsylvania. Cowboys coming off a tough 25-22 home loss to the Cardinals that snapped their 4-game losing streak. Dak was 24 of 38 for 226 yards, 3 touchdowns, no interceptions. He fumbled 3 times, though, recovering 2 of them. Dalton Schultz caught 6 passes for 54 yards. CeeDee Lamb caught 3 passes for 51 yards. They could get nothing going on the ground. Zeke and Tony Pollard combined for 12 carries for 25 yards. Prescott was the leading Dallas rusher with 20 yards. The defense had 0 sacks and 4 quarterback hits, and they lost Michael Gallup to a left knee injury. He is injury to his anterior cruciate ligament. He is gone. Punter Hunter Niswander, linebacker Keanu Neal, defensive tackle Quentin Bohanna, and offensive tackle Josh Bell are on the COVID list. The Eagles have been hit with a massive COVID list. Massive. So they've been absolutely decimated by COVID in the last 48 hours. And it looks like it's not going to hurt them yet because, now I say yet, because this could affect them in Week 19. But right now, coming off their 4th straight win, an underwhelming 2016 victory at Washington to clinch a wildcard spot, they are not scoring early at all. At all. They've been outscored 35-7 in the first quarter of the past 5 games, yet they've won 4 of them. 3rd consecutive game with no points in the first quarter. They've won 7 of 9 since starting 2-5 and clinched an NFC wildcard spot hours later when Minnesota lost badly to Green Bay. Jalen Hurts was 17 and 26 for 214 yards, no touchdowns, no interceptions. He also ran 7 times for 44 yards. Dallas Goedert caught 6 passes for 71 yards. Devonta Smith caught 3 passes for 54 yards. Their league-leading rushing attack was held to a season-low 3.4 yards per carry, with Sanders out because of a broken left hand. Boston Scott was the RB1. With Miles Sanders out of the lineup. Boston Scott 14 carries for 47 yards and 2 touchdowns. Also caught 4 passes for 39 yards. Scott's second touchdown gave the Eagles 24 scores on the ground this season. That's the most in the league and the Eagles' most in a season since 1949. But it's a different rushing attack without Miles Sanders. 2 weeks ago, they put up 238 yards on the ground. Last week, they put up 119 yards rushing. The Eagles' defense was strong against a pedestrian Washington offense. 3 sacks, 5 quarterback hits. They shut Washington out in the second half. Rodney McLeod had an interception. And Sean Bradley was inactive because of a shoulder injury. He's listed as questionable this week, but you can imagine that he will not be in the lineup in a meaningless game. Let's go over how COVID has hit them. Okay, so this is all on January 3rd. Can you turn the AC on? Okay, January 3rd, we have Davian Taylor, their linebacker. Brandon Brooks, not Brandon Brooks, sorry. Running back Jordan Howard. Running back Boston Scott. Tight end Dallas Goedert. Tight end Jack Stoll. Linebacker Alex Singleton. Linebacker Jannard Avery. Defensive tackle Fletcher Cox. Cornerback Avonte Maddox. Safety Rodney McLeod, safety Marcus Epps, guard Nate Herbig, and center Jason Kelsey are all on the COVID list as of yesterday. What a mess. What a mess. And before we move on, huge shout out to Damon Santori. What a guy. Look at that dono, $49.99. What a guy you are, Damon. Thank you so much for your support here. It means the world to us. Damon Santori, fresh off of winning a big DFS pool here and sharing the wealth. Much love to you, Damon. Thank you so much for your support. Take it away here, Bebsie. This is the second game on Saturday night, Cowboys-Eagles.
Holy shit, thank you, Damon Santora. What a beauty. Listen, the Cowboys can actually move up in seeding if they win this game. Philly is stuck in the wild card. They can if the Niners win, they move down. There is seeding implications here, but both of these teams are locked into the playoffs already. I just start wondering about Dallas, and I was dead wrong last week, and I forget who it was trying to correct me, and I was just like, no, I think Dallas is turning around. As soon as Dallas played another playoff team, they struggled and they lost, and it puts it right back into question for me again. And it really, for me, it boils down to Mike McCarthy. We have seen his body of work. We've seen Mike McCarthy for years as the head coach of the Green Bay Packers. We saw him all through Aaron Rodgers' prime, unable to put together an offensive game plan. And here we are again. This Dallas Cowboys offense, they have a loaded offensive line. They have a quarterback who until recently was vastly overachieving. Loads of talent at the wide receiver position. Zeke has fallen off a touch, but he's still a solid back, especially when you pair him with Pollard. And now you have Mike McCarthy's offense underachieving. Again, the Dallas defense is playing great, especially with another spot I was dead wrong. Well, I'm not going to say dead wrong because I have said repeatedly that I loved Micah Parsons, the player. I didn't like the pick. I'm wrong about that because obviously he is changing this defense. So I just don't have any faith in Dallas right now. However, Philadelphia Eagles, that laundry list of guys out right now with injuries and COVID, I don't know. They're not going to rush anybody back. They're in the playoffs. If I'm Philadelphia, I pack it in anyways and worry about week 1 of the playoffs because you can't risk any more injury right now. I think this game means more to the Cowboys. So I lean Cowboys in this.
Now, what happens if Jalen Hurts is not under center and instead it's Gardner Minshew?
I don't know if that's that big of a step down. I
don't think it's a step down at all. I think that he might give maximum effort here.
Yeah, he always gives maximum effort. That's why people love Gardner Minshew so much. I think he does lack some of the physical skills that Jalen Hurts has, of course, especially in the run game. But he's still a very athletic quarterback, and he fires people up. So if Minshew's in here, then you got to worry about the Minshew factor.
Cowboys have nothing to play for. Is Dak even under center?
Well, they do have if Tampa loses and the Rams lose and Dallas wins, they can move all the way up to the number 2 seed. So they do and they don't. I don't think Tampa's going to lose. The Rams, we'll get to that obviously, but I don't know. I think in order to make a proper decision on this game, you need to know who's at center or who's behind center, rather, for both of these teams. Right now, as it stands, I would lean Cowboys.
Well, if Minshew is in and the Eagles are decimated with injuries and the Cowboys can move up in seeding, I will lean towards a first half over. As well, I will lean towards. We're going to have to see, but I don't see why Jalen Hurts would be playing here. And you have no running game for the Eagles. It feels like you need Minshew. Burgundy Bet says Mike McCarthy, Jerry Jones, and Dak said the starters would play. All right. All right. So there you have it. That's the second game on Saturday. A lot more information really has to come in. Slatsy has Cowboys first half -3.5. We need to see who's going to be in the lineup for the Eagles, and we need to see who's going to be a quarterback. So,
Princeton City making good points tonight.
Says they have no D when healthy, so they couldn't stop Miu and Bebsie. I think that first half over is the play if Minshew is at quarterback. But we're going to have to wait and see about that. Those are the 2 Saturday spots. We have a likely move on the Chiefs. I think the Chiefs are the spot here. Are we? So I think the Chiefs are the spot. And then we need to know who is going to be in and out for the Philadelphia Eagles that are hammered by COVID. There is Saturday action. Let's move on to Sunday action. Sunday, January 9th. We're going to start 1 p.m. Eastern. Cincinnati Bengals 10-6, 5-2 on the road at Cleveland Browns 7-9, 5-3 at home. We're at FirstEnergy Stadium in Cleveland, Ohio. We'll start with the market move here. We have Cleveland opening up as a 3-point favorites. Is that right? There's a book saying that it's hanging a 1.5, but it shouldn't be. 3-point favorites for these Cleveland Browns. 3-point favorites. And from a totals perspective, I should move over to Pinnacle opening line. I'm using Bet365 opening line, so I think I'll switch that here in a second. But it opened at 44, and they say, God, this is all over the place. And it's down to 41, so that is right. So a 3-point move towards the under here. We go over to the cash flow in this spot. We have this up here. Sorry. We have 2,849 tickets in. 70% of the tickets are on Cincinnati. 80% of the cash is on Cincinnati. Interesting. 17% of the tickets are on the under, but 54% of the cash is on the under. Oh, and Newcourt is saying Bengals are -3. They are -3. I don't know. Sorry, this site is messed up. The Bengals are -3. My fault. The site I'm using is under new ownership.
Baker out. Doesn't that help the Browns right now?
He's looked awful. But let's start with the Bengals coming in off a monster 34-31 victory at home over the Chiefs, who came in riding an 8-game winning streak. Burrows has 971 passing yards, 8 touchdowns, 0 interceptions in his last 2 games. Franchise record for passing yards, shattered it. He now has 4,611, passing Andy Dalton, who had 4,293 in 2013. He also holds the single-season franchise record for passing TDs with 34. He has passed for 300-plus yards 6 times this season. That's also a Bengals record. He has 4 career games of 400-plus yards, the most of any player in his first 2 seasons, since Hall of Famer Dan Marino had 3 in his first 2 seasons. He finished 30 of 39 for 446 yards, 4 touchdowns, 0 interceptions. Burrows had more receiving yards than Jamar Chase and Patrick Mahomes had in the game. Chase caught 11 passes for 266 yards and 3 touchdowns, no interceptions. So Chase broke Jerry Butler's NFL rookie record of 255 yards for Buffalo against the Jets in 1979. He also set a record for receiving yards in a season by a rookie with 1,429 yards. He still has 1 game left, but he's already passed Justin Jefferson. All those guys that are breaking records wanted to do it in 16 games. They didn't want to have to do it in the 17 games. T. Higgins caught 3 passes for 62 yards. Mixon ran 12 times for 46 yards, caught 7 passes for 40 yards. The defense didn't manage a sack, but did hit Mahomes 4 times. They were very strong in the second half, holding the Chiefs to just 3 points. The last Cincinnati playoff appearance was 2015. It was a wild game that they lost to the Steelers. I remember I was in Niagara Falls at the Yuck Yucks watching it. The Bengals haven't won a playoff game in 3 decades. Zach Taylor said he hasn't decided whether Burrow or any other key starters will rest for this game, but you have to imagine they will. Why would they play him? Xavier Suafilo was designated to return from the injured reserve Wednesday. They have cornerback Trey Waynes, wide receiver Trent Irwin, and linebackers Jermaine Pratt and Jordan Evans on the COVID list. Offensive tackle Riley Reif done for the year. And guard Quentin Spain, cornerback Jalen Davis, and defensive end Cam Sample inactive last week and questionable this week. Let's start with the Bengals. Do you start Burrow or any of these guys here if you're going against the lowly Browns without Mayfield in?
Well, there are still technically seeding implications on the line for Cincinnati. So I think it really comes down to how affected that knee is. I mean, if his knee is healthy and he can go, I think he goes. The only reason you have this low of a line here is for that reason. We're not sure if Burrow's going to play. I think he does, and I think I want to move on this because, listen, I do think not having Baker in is a good thing for the Browns. But we already saw a demoralized Browns team play last night. And it's not like they're going to – if they can't get up to beat Big Ben in his final game at Heinz Field, they're not going to get up for this game. They really aren't. I don't know if they like Stefanski or what. I don't know if he's going to be gone. I think he's being a little bit unfairly judged. Not entirely. He does deserve a fair amount of the blame, but – they've been hit with COVID at the wrong times. The heart of their season was just decimated with injuries. This Cleveland Browns team, if healthy, would have had a much better record. They might be sitting here at 10-6. Instead, they're at 7-9. This team's demoralized. I can't see them getting up to play at all in this game.
Dutchie says, give me Cincy, 6-1 last 7 ATS. I just don't see why Burrow would be out there. I mean, Jake Allen's their backup, right? I mean, it's going to be the Jake Allen show. Okay, let's talk about the Browns. They coming off an ugly 26-14 loss at Pittsburgh on Monday night. They knew they'd been eliminated from the playoff contention before entering the game, and they played like it. Baker Mayfield is doing surgery to repair the torn labrum in his non-throwing left shoulder. 16-38, 185 yards, 2 touchdowns, 2 interceptions, sacked 9 times in the game. He ranked 26th in the league in QBR this year, 35.2, 26th. He also became the first NFL quarterback since 2019 to throw 10 consecutive incompletions, the first since 2017 to be sacked at least 5 times, have 5 passes batted down at the line of scrimmage in the same game. Donovan Peoples-Jones caught 3 passes for 76 yards. Landry caught 4 passes for 40 yards. Nick Chubb, who has 1,201 yards and 8 touchdowns, despite missing 3 games, only had 4 carries for 35 yards in the first half. What was Stefanski thinking?
Yeah, I couldn't understand that at all.
The Steelers are the worst team in the league against the run. I mean, and then you have your injured quarterback. I mean, what do you? Maybe Stefanski wants him gone. I don't know what he was doing. Chubb did not look good. Finished 12 carries, 58 yards, but he was probably pissed off. Jadeveon Clowney, 2 sacks. No one else got any. AJ Green did get an interception. Browns have lost 4 of their last 5. Missed the playoffs for the 18th time in the last 19 years. Kareem Hunt missed his 3rd straight game with an ankle injury. He's not coming back for this. Cornerback Greedy Williams suffered a shoulder injury. Cornerback Denzel Ward suffered a groin injury. Why would they come and play? Takataki, their linebacker, suffered a shoulder injury. Why would he play? Linebacker Mac Wilson, safety Ronnie Harrison, cornerback Troy Hill, and safety John Johnson were inactive last week and are questionable this week. This is a game that I want nothing to do with. And Boston Nick, little $3.69 dono, says Ping Pong Master. I'm gonna take care of fucking business down in San Antonio, man. Take that to the fucking bank. But look, who cares? Nobody cares about this game. The players don't care. Nobody cares. How do you bet it?
I don't know. I kind of blindly want to take Cincinnati here. I think even with Burrow out, they can win by 3. Again, technically seeding still does matter for Cincinnati. They can still move up if certain teams lose, like the Patriots or the Bills. So it does come down to seeding a bit for them. That's the only reason why I could see Burrow playing. Now, if he's not 100%, then which he isn't, but if he's not at least confident in that knee, then he's not going to go.
No. Jake Allen, Casey Keenum. Sorry. Who's the better backup?
Oh, Case Keenum's a better backup for sure. We know Case Keenum can run Kevin Stefanski's offense. He did it in Minnesota, and he did it efficiently there. He's not a bad quarterback. He's just not a good quarterback. Jake Allen, I'm trying to be nicer in the new year, so no comment.
I don't want anything to do with this, but why would the Browns even try? At least the Bengals feel good about themselves. So I can understand it, I guess.
Yeah.
I guess I can understand it. I just, the main thing for me this week is I don't want to get talked in. I don't want 10 plays. It's never.
Yeah, you got to pick your spots in week 18.
So are the Bengals -3 one of those spots because they feel good about themselves? There's Birdie in the house. Great to have you, Birdie. There's Chris Brady and Nasty Nate rolling with us. So Bengals -3. I guess. Let's move on. Next up for us, 1 p.m. Eastern, Green Bay Packers, 13-3, 5-3 on the road at Detroit Lions, 2-13-1, 2-5 at home at US Bank Stadium, Minneapolis, Minnesota. Let's bring up the market for this spot. We have Minnesota opening at -3.5. Now they're -2. Oh, shit. Sorry, that's Minnesota. Green Bay at Detroit. My fault. Green Bay opening at -2.5. Now they're at -2. This total opened up at 44.5. Now it's at 42.5. And Bernie Bet says these teams can only dress 53 players for these games. They will have players out there that can play ball. Packers come in off a dominant 37-10 home win over the Vikings, who were without Kirk Cousins due to COVID, clinched the number 1 seed in the NFC. Green Bay's the lone NFL team with an unbeaten home record and has a chance to reach the Super Bowl without leaving Lambeau. Damn. Packers haven't reached the Super Bowl since 2010, since they won the title in 2010. They lost in the conference championship game 4 of the last 7 seasons. Rodgers, 29-38 for 288 yards, 2 touchdowns, no interceptions. Over his last 6 games, Rodgers has thrown 18 touchdown passes without an interception. But he's not going to be under center. Devontae Adams caught 11 passes for 136 yards, 1 touchdown. Alan Lazard caught 6 passes for 72 yards and a touchdown. Aaron Jones ran 8 times for 76 yards, caught 5 passes for 30 yards. A.J. Dillon ran 14 times for 63 yards, ran twice for 20 yards. Sean Mannion could do very little. The Packers stuffed the box, made sure that they could control Dalvin Cook, dared Mannion to beat him. Mannion was incapable of it. Vikings finished with 11 carries for 27 yards. Packers finished with 2 sacks, 5 quarterback hits. Randall Cobb still dealing with the groin injury. He's expected to be good to go, 3 weeks from now. Guard Elgin Jenkins, linebacker Randy Ramsey were on the COVID list. They have since added cornerback Jair Alexander, safety Darnell Savage, and offensive tackle Dennis Kelly. Guard Billy Turner and offensive tackle David Bakhtiari were inactive last week, listed as questionable this week. And Packers coach Matt LaFleur broke George Seifert's, the great George Seifert's 30-year NFL record for the most regular season wins by a coach in his first 3 seasons. LaFleur, 39-9 regular season mark, 41-11 overall. Seifert was 38-10 from 89 to 91, first 3 seasons with the Niners. Lions come in off an ugly 51-29 loss of the Seahawks. Tim Boyle was 22 of 37. 22 of 37 for 262 yards, 2 touchdowns. Brandon Allen. Thank you. I said Jake Allen. Thank you, Brandon Allen. I'm gonna have to deal with that. Slatty says Rodgers says he wants and expects to play. Spread is -2. Imagine betting that and Rodgers coming to play. Why would Rodgers play? First off, but let's talk about Tim Boyle here. Tim Boyle. I don't know what you want here. This. I don't know if you want that, but Boyle. Dan Campbell said Goff has a 50-50 chance of playing in Sunday's game against the Packers. Amon-Ra St. Brown had another excellent game, catching 8 passes for 111 yards, 1 touchdown. He also had 2 carries for 23 yards and a touchdown. St. Brown also became the first Detroit rookie to have touchdown catches in 3 straight games since Dave Middleton in 1955. Kadero Hodge caught 5 passes for 76 yards. DeAndre Swift returned to the Lions lineup, but was only given 4 carries for 32 yards. The defense looked abysmal. They couldn't get any stops. They finished with 1 sack, 3 quarterback hits. Their COVID list includes wide receiver Khalif Raymond, linebacker Austin Bryan, offensive tackle Taylor Decker, offensive tackle Penei Sewell, linebacker Rashad Berry, and fullback Jason Sabinda were inactive last week. Listed as questionable this week. Birdie says Rodgers plays a bit or he sits for 3 weeks. He will play a half, I suspect. Take it away here, Bebsie. We have these Packers as slight favorites against the Lions.
I'm going to take the Packers here. This is going to be my first official play, and here's why. I think we finally saw Detroit completely lay down. You're not going to see Goff back. You'll probably see Boyle again. And I do believe Rodgers plays because, as Birdie mentions, if he doesn't, he's sitting out for a while. Now, the other factor is, and this is entirely speculation, but this team has gone 13-3 a few years in a row, and just gotten embarrassed in the conference finals. I think there's enough superstition on that team that doesn't want to finish with 13 wins again. And I think they're going to come out and play this game. I do want to comment on what Harold Williams has said here. Amon-Ra St. Brown will be a star. That guy has been balling out since I made a little crack at him. I wasn't knocking him. I just said, who's going to put up points for Detroit? Amon-Ra St. Brown? And he has been on fire ever since. So you're welcome. But I think I disagree, McGavin. I don't think the Lions are going to bring the smoke. I really don't. I think the Packers just get this done, and it's a low enough number for me to take this. Yeah, Birdie, that's not a bad idea.
What's Birdie saying?
Birdie's saying Green Bay first half.
Or even first quarter, because I believe Prince of the City says if he plays Bury the first quarter, Rodgers. I imagine he'll be out there for that, first 2 or 3 series. All right, let's see what we can get you. Oh, of course, it's not available at Pinnacle because they're a very sharp book. Let's move over to what we can get you. Of course. Okay, here we go. The Sorry, 1 second. Here we go. The best we can get you on the Packers right now is -2 at -110. Is that what you want? Full game Packers?
Is there any first half or first quarter available, or is it not?
Oh yeah, it's available. Let me grab it for you here. Oh no, off the board. Off the board. Let's see if Circa's hanging it. Maybe Circa will do it with limits. Circa Sports. Let's see what they're hanging here. Circa Sports is nice odds. Those of you in America looking for books. Let's go here. Okay. So we're dealing with. We have Packers at -2.5 at +100 here. Oh, they're only giving a full game. So no first half or first quarters today. Maybe I'll check FanDuel as well, but nothing right now.
All right,
move on to full game?
Let me stick a pin in that for now.
Okay.
I feel like everyone's screaming at me not to.
Nutflush Allen says, bottom line, if Roger steps on the field, he won't come out till he decides. Dennis Trust says, if the Packers were playing their big boys, they would be, of course, much higher than 2.5. I hear that. Let's see if FanDuel has the balls to offer it. And they don't either. So no books are hanging in the first half. Nuke Walker says, Pack at -2 at 365 tells me to stay away. Okay, let's move. Oh, there we go. I like where we're going. Now we have 3 Susan Boyle, Tim Boyles. I like it. Good work, Jose. Keep it up.
Jose working hard.
Yeah, of course. 1 p.m. Eastern. Chicago Bears 6-10, 3-5 on the road. And Minnesota Vikings 7-9, 4-3 home. We're at US Bank Stadium in Minneapolis, Minnesota. Bears come in off a dominant 29-3 victory at home over the lowly Giants. Let's see what we are dealing with. 2 teams out of the playoffs. Vikings opened up -3.5. Now they're at -2.5. The Bears opened up at 44, or total opens up at 44.5. There's been no movement there. Andy Dalton was 18-35 for 173 yards, 1 touchdown, 1 interception. Justin Fields missed his second straight game because of an ankle injury. He's listed as questionable to go this week. Darnell Mooney caught 7 passes for 69 yards and a touchdown. David Montgomery ran 22 times for 64 yards, 2 touchdowns. The defense was strong. They held the Giants to a season-low 152 yards. They finished with 4 sacks, 5 quarterback hits, added interceptions by Tayshaun Gibson and Deion Bush. Robert Quinn broke Hall of Famer Richard Dent's franchise single-season sack record with 18. What a turnaround. He had 2 sacks last season. Now it's 100.5 on his career, and he needs 1 more to match that career high he had with St. Louis in 2013. And he's a great story. I don't know if you guys know his story. He diagnosed with a brain tumor when he was 17. Told he wasn't going to survive. Cornerback Duke Shelley, tight end JP Holt were inactive last week. Let's just questionable this week. Prince of the City says pass. Jared TG saying no Packers first half on DraftKings either. Vikings coming off an ugly 37-10 loss to the Packers without the services of Cousins. Kirk Cousins. Will Kirk Cousins be available here? Will they bother with him here? It's unclear at this point. Packers stacked the box. They stopped Dalvin Cook. Manning could do nothing. Dalvin Cook finished with 9 carries, 13 yards. Manning was 22-36, 189 yards, 1 touchdown. Justin Jefferson caught 6 passes for 58 yards. KJ Osborne caught 3 passes for 50 yards and a touchdown. Vikings defense couldn't get stops or pressure. They finished with 0 sacks, 3 quarterback hits. Adam Thielen has a 1-month recovery from ankle surgery that he just had. Linebacker Nick Vigil, linebacker Eric Kendricks, offensive tackle Christian Darrisaw, guard Ezra Cleveland, offensive tackle Brian O'Neill, and safety Cameron Bynum are on the COVID list with Kirk Cousins. Defensive tackle Michael Pierce and quarterback Cameron Dantzler were inactive last week. Listed questionable this week. Terry Walker leaning towards the Bears. Nuke Walker says Dalton playing for a contract, but Cousins will probably have a career game. Stay away from me. What do you do with this spot? 2 teams have nothing to play for. Bears, Vikings.
I like Birdie's look on this because he's absolutely right. Zimmer was a complete dick after the game. He's very just indignant about everything. I really think the bet here that we should be talking about is which coach gets fired faster, Nagy or Zimmer. And I hope they announce it at the exact same time. It would be great. I can't. This is such a. My look here is maybe Robert Quinn sacks over, but it's a props look in this. I couldn't. Neither of these teams are playing for anything right now. Both their coaches suck. Both teams probably hate their head coach. Chicago Bears maybe slightly less, and I can't even believe I'm saying that the Bears might hate Nagy less than Minnesota hates Zimmer right now. But both of these teams, one dramatically underperformed this year. The other one, we kind of knew Chicago wasn't going to be that good. But yeah, I can't get a read on this meaningless game in which teams are not going to get up and play.
Yeah, I don't know. I don't see an angle. I don't know where there would be an angle here. I don't know. I guess. I mean, is Andy Dalton going to start for the Bears? Did you put Fields out there after the ankle injury?
You'd be crazy to. I almost think ownership would step in if Nagy tried at this point. Why would you? He's your future. So you can't put Fields out there.
And do we? I mean, let's say it is Sean Mannion. If it is Sean Mannion, then we take the Bears.
Yeah, but Cousins will play. Why wouldn't Kirk play? He's that guy. Yeah. That guy's tried hard his whole life. He's going to try hard here.
All right, so we're going to need more information on that spot. Let's keep rolling. 1 p.m. Eastern, Washington football team, 6-10, 3-5 on the road at New York Giants, 4-12, 3-4 at home at MetLife Stadium in East Rutherford, New Jersey. Let's start with the market move here. We have these Washington football team, which will know what their team is on February 2nd, what their team name is, opening up at -6.5. That's where they stand now. Sports Interaction is hanging at 7. This total opened up at 39. It is now down to 38. Slatsy said, heard a rumor Washington football team will rename the Washington Admirals. Huh. Interesting. Okay, let's take a look at if there's any action here that we need to know about cash-wise. 2,383 tickets in, 73% of the tickets on Washington, 97% of the cash. You know, it's too big of a spread. You know, take Washington a full time. Maybe it's not, though, because the New York Giants are absolute trash. Let's start with Washington. Washington comes in off their 4th straight loss, 2016 at home to the Eagles, officially eliminated from the playoffs. They were up 16-7 at the half, but were shut out the rest of the way. Heineke was 27-36 for 247 yards, no touchdowns, 1 interception. Terry McLaurin caught 7 passes for 61 yards, no touchdowns. Cam Sims caught 4 passes for 48 yards. With Antonio Gibson out with COVID, Jared Patterson came in, carried the ball 12 times, 57 yards, and a touchdown, and caught 5 passes, 41 yards. He looked good. Their defense played well. They finished with just 1 sack, 3 quarterback hits, but they kept them in the game when the offense was sputtering. They were missing left guard Eric Flowers and punter Tress Way because of COVID-19 protocols. Tight end Ricky Seals-Jones hurt his neck in a collision with a camera operator. It's pretty ugly. He's in concussion protocols. Wide receiver Curtis Samuel, defensive end James Smith-Williams, defensive end Montez Sweat, and quarterback William Jackson were inactive last week, and they're listed as questionable this week. Dennis Garcia says, is there a category the Giants offense doesn't rank last in over the past month? Burgundy Bet says Giants packed it in 2 weeks ago. Only trash came out with Bet and laid the touchdown with Washington football team at home. Giants come in off their 5th straight loss, an abysmal 29-3 setback at Chicago. They put up a season-low 152 yards of offense. Mike Lennon was atrocious. 4 of 11 for 24 yards, no touchdowns, 2 interceptions. He fumbled 4 times, losing 2 of them. He had a passer rating of 5.3, and he's dealing with a left wrist injury that will require season-ending surgery. So this week will be the highly anticipated Jake Fromm show. The Giants completely abandoned the pass after the first 2 dismal series. Saquon Barkley finished with 21 carries for 102 yards. It was the most for him since 2019. Their defense had 2 sacks, 5 quarterback hits. Tate Crowder, James Bradbury had interceptions. That defense has fought hard all year. Defensive tackle Danny Sheldon, offensive tackle Corey Cunningham, wide receiver Dante Pettis, wide receiver Darius Slayton are on the COVID list. Center Billy Price, wide receiver Kadarius Toney, Wide receivers, Kadarius Toney, John Ross, and Colin Johnson were all inactive last week, listed as questionable this week. Take it away here, Bebsie. Is Washington worth a look?
As much as I want to just completely dismiss this trash game, I think Washington is worth a look. New York Giants have been literally they've been the worst team in football over the past 5 seasons. Collectively, their record is worse than anyone else's, including the lowly Jags. They might be the worst team in football right now. They're abysmal. They're demoralized. They're not playing. They got absolutely spanked by the Bears last week. Spanked by the Bears last week. I don't think they turn it around this week. And it was mentioned in the chat, but Heineke's playing with some cash incentives. And for a guy who's not making a ton of money at quarterback, I think he comes out and plays hard. And I kind of want to take the football team here.
Yeah, I think it's starting to make sense to back them here. They're coming off 4 straight losses. They had 4 straight wins coming into that 4-loss losing streak. Heineke's going to be trying. Fromm is absolutely terrible. New Corker says Giants have scored 66 points in the last 7 games. I think this all makes sense. I don't know.
What's the Giants team total too? Because that's been an auto cash lately.
It has been an auto cash. Let's see what Pinnacle is hanging here for these Giants. Here we go. Giants team total is sitting at 14.5. Juice to the under.
What's the juice on that?
Minus 117.
It's not terrible.
I wonder what it is at Bet365. I know it would be worse than that. Let's just take a look. The 14.5 is at minus 125 at Bet365. There's Mr. Gogster in the house. Great to see you, Gogster. Joy Oliver says over on Heineke passing yards. So Burgundy Bet says Heineke needs a win and 60% of the snaps against the Giants during 125K.
I think I'm going to move on the Washington football team here.
Yeah, it makes sense to me. Dennis Garcia giving his final score 16-13, but
the Giants are the worst team in football right now.
Yeah. Both New York teams had a win total at 6.5. And the under, my book, was plus 130 for both of them. And I was like, one of them is going to get under 6.5 wins for sure. Now, maybe the Giants get over 6.5 wins with Daniel Jones at quarterback, maybe. But they're both going to cash here.
I thought the Giants had a good draft this year. The day after the draft, I was kind of impressed with what they did. And I think that maybe gave some false hope. But the Giants are still the Giants. And Daniel Jones is still Daniel Jones. He has not progressed one bit since year one.
Well, I get why you'd move on. Oh, it's already at 7.5 at Circa at plus 108. But if you wanted to move on them here, you'd get 6.5.
Let's
6.5 minus 115 at Pinnacle.
I'm going to do it. I'm going to move on. I'm going to move on the football team. And I hope they're wrong in the chat. I hope that they are not going to announce that they're the Washington Admirals, because the Washington football team is way more fun than the Washington Admirals.
Minus 115, right? Did I say that? Washington. Okay, minus 6.5, minus 115. I agree with this look. I think Washington football team, I think Heineke tries. They haven't looked good the last couple of weeks. I think that another game for Jared Patterson to show that he's worthy. I like it. I think this might even be a 0-0 spot. Okay, let's keep rolling. So Bebsie's on the board with Washington. Let's roll on to the next spot, 1 p.m. Eastern. Indianapolis Colts at Jacksonville Jaguars. These Colts 9-7, 5-2 on the road. Jaguars 2-14, 2-6 at home. We're at TIAA Bank Field, Jacksonville, Florida. What a horrific disgrace the Jaguars were last week. But let's not start there. Let's start with the Colts. Colts coming off a surprising 23-20 setback at home to the Raiders. Indianapolis has won 3 straight, native 10 to move 1 win away from a postseason berth, but they couldn't hold a second-half lead against Vegas. Wentz struggled in his return from the COVID list, 16-27 for 148 yards, 1 touchdown, no interceptions. Michael Pittman caught 6 passes for 47 yards. T.Y. Hilton's lone catch was a weird bobble, 45-yard TD strike. Jonathan Taylor had another big game, carrying the ball 20 times for 108 yards and a touchdown. And Jonathan Taylor broke Edgerrin James' single-season franchise record of 1,709 yards. He has 1,734 with 1 game left. The defense played well, sacking Derek Carr twice, hitting him 5 times. Isaiah Rodgers and Darius Leonard each had picks. Defensive back Xavier Rhodes left with a hamstring injury. He's listed as day-to-day. Paris Campbell has been designated to return from the injured reserve, their wide receiver. That he'll help their wide receiver. And Pittman's has improved as the season's gone on, but they need help. A wide receiver. A long snapper, Luke Rhodes, has been added to the COVID list. Offensive tackle Eric Fisher, safety Andrew Sandejo were inactive last week and are listed as questionable this week. Jaguars coming off an ugly 50-10 loss at New England. They came into the game missing 8 starters and 13 players in total sidelined due to COVID. That included 3 starting offensive linemen, left tackle Cameron Robinson, center Brandon Linder, and guard Ben Barch, and 5 backups. They've lost 8 straight. 3 straight since firing Urban Meyer, 17 straight road losses, 253 yards of offense. We're 3-9 on third down. Trevor Lawrence was 17-27 for 193 yards, 1 touchdown, 3 picks. Laquan Treadwell led receivers with 6 catches for 87 yards. With James Robinson done for the season, Ogunbowale had 9 carries for 36 yards and 2 catches for 32 yards and a touchdown. But their defense was atrocious. They couldn't get stops. They couldn't get pressure. They couldn't do anything. They finished with 0 sacks and 0 interceptions. Let's do a quick review of their status right now with COVID, and it's horrific. Here we go. So, excuse me. Barch is still on the reserve COVID list. Dan Arnold is on the reserve. Tight end Dan Arnold. Linebacker Kayvon Chason is on the reserve COVID. Center Brandon Linder is still on it. Defensive end Larry McCray. Defensive tackle Jay Tufel. Punter. Oh, no, Logan Cook has an injury. Jacob Hollister, tight end, is on the COVID list. Safety Rudy Ford. Wide receiver Jaden Minkins. Offensive tackle Cameron Robinson. Linebacker Dylan Moses. Safety Eric Wingard. Then you have Shaquille Griffin. Defensive end DeJuan Smoot are all on the COVID list. Birdie says Jags first quarter. Take it away here, Bebsie. Is there an angle? Colts, Jags, and let me just review this spot. We have the Colts opening up as 14.5-point favorites, now 15.5-point favorites. I mean, they have something to play for. And we go over to the cash flow in this spot. 58% of the tickets are on the Colts, just 58. We don't know the cash flow yet, and we have 42% of tickets on the under, 89% cash on the under. Take it away, Bebsie. Colts, Jags.
Well, Damon Santor kind of stole my thunder already with this stat, but maybe you missed it, Jimmy, and well, you're looking it up right now. So the Colts have not beat the Jags in Jacksonville in 7 years. They have not beat the Jags in Jacksonville in 7 years. I don't know what it is. I don't know if they just struggle going down and playing in Florida or what. I don't know if it's in their head at this point, but I cannot back the Jags with that stat looming, or the Colts with that stat looming. As bad as Jacksonville has been and as good as the Colts have been, that's just a remarkable stat, considering that, okay, a couple of those years, the Jacksonville Jaguars were actually a very good football team. But last year I got knocked out of my survivor pool week 1 because the Colts lost to the Jags in Jacksonville. So I'm not touching this. I'm going to stay the hell away from it. And to be honest with you, 16 points, Jacksonville playing spoilers. I think it's Jacksonville or no play here. And I know everybody in the chat is posting all these blowout scores. I don't think that's the case. I think this is going to be tough sledding. I do think Indy wins. I think they break that streak this year, but 16? Nope.
Yeah, it's very, very. I mean, the Jaguars have looked so bad. Right now, it's 15.5 at Pinnacle. Would you want to bet on the Jaguars here in week 18?
God, no. I'm not going to bet on the Jags.
But you just don't want the Colts, is what you're saying.
I don't want the Colts. Obviously, they struggle playing down in Jacksonville. I don't know what it is, but 7 years in a row?
Burgundy bets looking at the Colts minus 7.5. Dennis Garcia says, give me Jacksonville. Ugly dog for me. God, that was an ugly 50-10 loss. I mean, it doesn't get much uglier than that. Slatsy says, what's the Jags team total? We'll let Pinnacle show us because Pinnacle usually has the best lines for this stuff. So let's see what the team total is for the Jaguars. 14.5, heavily juiced to the under. Minus 133 to the under. And Dennis Garcia said Jacksonville and the under. Okay, let's keep.
Listen, the Colts will win this game. I just don't think they win by that much.
Let's keep
laying money with Jacksonville. What are you guys nuts?
Keep rolling with Pittsburgh Steelers next up against Baltimore Ravens. And the Ravens not officially eliminated from the playoff chase, interestingly enough. To get in as a wild card, they're going to need to win here and get a ton of help, but not officially eliminated yet. 1 p.m. Eastern, Pittsburgh Steelers 8-7-1, 2-5 on the road at Baltimore Ravens, 8-8, 5-3 at home at M&T Bank Stadium in Baltimore, Maryland. These Ravens opened up at -5. They're now -5.5. Stoll opened up at 42. Pinnacle just moved it to 41.5. We go over to the cash flow in this spot. We have 2,181 tickets in, 60% of the tickets, 67% of the cash on the Ravens, 64% tickets, 69% cash on the under. And Birdie says Ravens roll here. This one will not be close. And Burgundy Bet says TJ Watt sack props. He is one shy right now of Strahan's NFL record. Let's go. Steelers come in to Ben Roethlisberger's last game off a 26-14 home win over the Browns. Their defense was excellent. They sacked Mayfield 9 times, hit him 11. That included 4 from TJ Watt, who now has 21 sacks on the year. Unbelievable. Akilo Witherspoon and Trey Norwood each had interceptions. Big Ben finished 24-46 for 123 yards, 1 touchdown, 1 interception. Ray McLeod had 4 catches for 35 yards. Deontay Johnson had 8 receptions for just 31 yards, but he did score a TD. Najee Harris was excellent, 28 carries for 188 yards and a touchdown. He also caught 3 passes for 18 yards. Defensive tackle Chris Wormley, linebacker Joe Schobert, and cornerback Anthony Mall missed the game due to COVID. Safety Terrell Edmonds is dealing with a groin injury. Linebacker Buddy Johnson, punter Presley Harvin, offensive tackle Dan Moore, guard Trey Turner were all inactive last week. Listen is questionable this week. Danny Lopez says, do we fade coming off an emotionally high game or ride the momentum and the rally for Big Ben? Dennis Garcia says, kind of feel like Pittsburgh left it all out there for Ben on Monday. So I'd be Baltimore a pass, but my appetite to lay points with Baltimore at the moment doesn't exist. Ravens come in off an ugly, it was a very tough 2019 loss at home to the Rams. At one point this season, Baltimore was 8-3. Now they've lost 5 straight. They were the top seed in the AFC at the time. It's their longest skid since a 9-game losing streak under Billick's last year in 2007. 4 of those defeats during this losing streak have come by a total of 5 points. The loss ousted Baltimore from the AFC North title hunt, but they're not officially eliminated. They were up 16-7 for the wild card. They were up 16-7 going into the 4th. Tyler Huntley, 20-32, 197 yards, no touchdowns in the pick. He also ran 6 times for 54 yards. Mark Andrews, what a year he's had. Caught 6 passes for 89 yards, no touchdowns. He set a Ravens single-season record for yards receiving, breaking the mark set by Michael Jackson during the team's first year in Baltimore after relocating from Cleveland. Andrews also stands just 4 catches shy of the franchise single-season record of 103 set by Derek Mason. What a year. Rashad Bateman caught 7 passes for 58 yards. Devontae Freeman added 14 carries for 76 yards. The defense couldn't get stops when they needed it most. Chuck Clark, 2 interceptions, 1 he brought back to the house. They finished with 1 sack, 4 quarterback hits. Tight end Josh Oliver, running back Justice Hill, safeties Darius Washington are on the COVID list. Cornerback Anthony Everett, quarterback Lamar Jackson, guard Ben Powers, all inactive last week. Unless it's questionable this week. Do you have any interest in the Ravens as 5.5-point favorites, Bebsie?
I have no interest in the Ravens. I think the Steelers are intriguing at the very least. A lot of that having to do with the fact that Baltimore has just been playing super tight games. I think 3 or 4 of their losses have been 2 points or less. And that's devastating. So on one hand, they could come out hard and angry and play this game and dominate the Steelers. But I don't think that's going to happen. I think this is going to be a close divisional matchup. And you did mention off the top that the Baltimore Ravens technically are not eliminated from the playoffs. The Pittsburgh Steelers are also technically not eliminated from the playoffs. If they win, the Colts lose, and the Vegas Chargers game does not end in a tie, they are in. They get the last wild card spot. It's a lot of magic that's got to happen to get them in, but they're also technically not eliminated. And Danny Lopez saying, do we fade them coming off an emotional win or rally behind Ben? I think they rally. I think they fight here. I think they play a good game. What it boils down to is Big Ben is done. Even in that win, he looked awful.
Sorry, I'm still not.
He relied completely on Najee Harris having a big game. Yes, both teams need a miracle to get in. But I do think this ends up being a close game. So if you are going to bet this, I would bet the Steelers. I think it's just too many points. This is going to be settled by a field goal.
Birdie says this line could be 14 for the Ravens, and I would not care. He says Pittsburgh got their win last week. Their season's over. Ravens first quarter, Ravens first half, Ravens full game. If you just bet this game, you'll win your week. There's Turnsey in the house. Congratulations on your Detroit Red Wings look. Looks very, very strong right now. My guy Turnsey, ready to get to work.
Love seeing old Bobby Probert pop up in the chat.
Oh, yeah, man. I love that Probert documentary. What a guy he was. Gerald Jones says, just take the dog in the Ravens-Steelers game. Could be Ben's last game. So, do you want to make the Steelers official?
I still don't. I don't want to lay money with Big Ben. That's the problem. I agree with Gerald Jones here. And I know a lot of the chat is against it. Danny Lopez, he did look awful. My girl is a big Steelers fan and was crying after the game. LOL. That's gorgeous. Yeah, Newkirker, I am going to fight Birdie. Don't worry. Oh yeah, we completely disagree here. I don't think Baltimore is going to rout them. You're being silly again, Birdie. It's fuck you, Birdie. We're fighting. Let's go. Let's go.
Oh shit! I get it, but in saying all that, I think that the Ravens' first half is a look here. I mean, you're going to get that first half. Let's just see if I wanted to bet it right now. I imagine it's going to be under a field goal. It's at -3 at -120. I think that makes sense to me. I do. I think I might move on it. There's no chance that Lamar Jackson comes back, right? It's a Huntley show, right, Bebsie?
I believe so, yeah.
And I don't mind that. I don't mind that at all. Turnsey says, don't bet the Steelers. Fernando Encinas says, Big Ben prop under passing yards. And Gerald Jones says, Baltimore most injured team in the NFL this year. I don't think they are. I think the Titans, because they broke the record for most players used in a non-strike year. So, and Crystal Warren says, when Beb says the word against, he sounds like a British butler. Okay, I think Ravens.
Now I'm going to be self-conscious about the way I say the word against.
I think Ravens -3 first half is a look here. All right, let's keep rolling. Next up, 1 p.m. Eastern, Tennessee Titans, 11-5, 4-3 on the road at Houston Texans, 4-12, 2-6 at home. We're at Energy Stadium in Houston, Texas. Titans Texans. Oh man, of course. It's just so. Oh god, sorry. The scores are popping up on my feed. Tennessee opening up as 11-point favorites. That has moved to 10.5 or 10, depending on where you shop. This total opening up at 43, juice to the under. That's where it stands right now. When we move over to the cash flow in this game, we have these Titans with 56% of the tickets and 80% of the cash. And then 55% of tickets on the over, 65% cash on that very over. Titans are back in the driving seat for the number 1 seed in the AFC after their impressive 34-3 win at home over the Dolphins. Shout out to our Jacksonville Zoe after another big Sunday for him. He was very confident on the Titans. They are back-to-back AFC South champs in a season where they've used 88 players. So that's the most ever in a non-strike season for the NFL. They also have won 11 games for the second straight season. First time since 2002, 2003. Tannehill was 13 of 18 for 120 yards, 2 touchdowns, no interceptions. A.J. Brown caught 2 passes for 41 yards. Deonta Foreman, 26 carries for 132 yards and a touchdown. The defense swarmed to him, sacked him 4 times, intercepted him once. Titans tight end McCole Pruitt hurt his right ankle on a running play in the second quarter. He was carted off the field. He will have surgery.
Gruesome.
Yeah, it was awful. Star running back Derrick Henry participated in individual drills yesterday and today. Murchison and linebacker Derek Robertson were inactive last week and are listed as questionable this week. Houston comes in off a 23-7 loss at San Francisco to snap their 2-game winning streak. They were shut out 20-0 in the second half. Houston was held to 222 yards of offense. The Texans had only 1 first down on their first 4 drives. Davis Mills, 21 of 32 for 163 yards, a touchdown and a pick. Brandon Cooks caught 7 passes for 66 yards and a touchdown. Rex Burkhead had 16 carries for 47 yards, caught 6 passes for 32 yards. They couldn't get pressure on Trey Lance. They sacked him just once. They hit him twice. Desmond King did have an interception. Also, safety Jonathan Owens, defensive lineman Jonathan Greenard, and defensive back Graylin Arnold all got hurt during the game. And the Texans have been hit very hard by COVID. Very, very hard. Let's go over their COVID issues here. And it's ridiculous. So, Titus Howard, offensive tackle, COVID list. Cornerback Lonnie Johnson Jr., COVID list. Wide receiver Chris Moore, COVID list. Dominic Eberle, their place kicker. They have defensive end Rondell Carter. Wide receiver Danny Amendola. I guess it doesn't matter because but Tay Davis, linebacker, is on the COVID list, but he's on injury reserve, so it doesn't matter. Tight end Anthony Auclair, linebacker Kevin Pierre-Louis, running back David Johnson, but he's got a quad injury anyway, so it doesn't matter. Then you have safety Justin Reed was put on there yesterday. So they have a mighty long COVID list. Take it away, Bebsie. Here we go. Titans, big favorites on the road at the Texans.
Look, if you guys have mentioned it in the chat already, the implications for home field advantage here mean so much to the Titans. More so than any team in the NFL right now, because an extra week rest gives them a chance to get Derrick Henry back for the playoffs. He's back at practice. He's doing individual workouts. He's not obviously running with the team yet. So they win this game, and there's a very, very good chance that Derrick Henry is playing for them when they play their first playoff game. I think Titans absolutely need this game. I think Texans are, I've said this before, teams don't completely fold. I don't think there's any. I thought the Texans played reasonably well against the Niners. The first half they were winning 7-3 at the half to a playoff team there, but they just eventually the Niners, outpaced them, and it ended up being a bit of a blowout. So I think it's the opposite here. I think Tennessee comes out early, gets up, smashes this team in the first half, and then maybe takes their foot off the gas a little bit, resting the starters down the stretch. So I think I want to look at Tennessee first half here. again, they're not going to let this game get away from them because it matters so much. They're a different team with Derrick Henry. They're not going to win the AFC without him, and this means them playing or not playing a playoff game without him.
Mm-hmm.
So I think they come out fired up.
You get them at Pinnacle first half -6 at -118.
That is what I want to bet.
All right, let's lock that in. We got Bebsie moving on. The Titans. First half -6. Oh, did I say 6.5? I'll double check that. -118. Available at Pinnacle. I'll just double check that very quickly. That was -6, not 6.5. So no hook. -6 and -118 at Pinnacle. Very interesting. Gerald Jones says Tennessee team total under 28.5 may be a look. And if that's the look, which I don't disagree with at all, maybe the under is the look at 43. What do you think of that under?
I mean, Tennessee or the Texans have an awful difficult time manufacturing points right now. They really don't have much offensively outside of Cooks. And to be honest with you, Davis Mills is playing okay football, but they're just still not putting up any points.
I think that first half under is a thought for me because Titans are going to play hard. Texans. Bebsie is moved on the Titans first half of -6. Gerald Jones liking the under 43. And I am very interested in that first half under. All right, let's keep rolling. Those were the 1 p.m. games. Now we move on to 4:25 p.m. Eastern. New Orleans Saints 8-8, 5-3 on the road at Atlanta Falcons. Sorry, fuck, man.
It's pronounced Falcons.
7-9, 2-5 at home. We're at Mercedes-Benz Stadium in Atlanta, Georgia. So this is a pretty interesting game for me. I have a decent-sized bet on the Falcons under 7.5 wins at +100. And if the Falcons win, then my Niners action is live. I would prefer the Niners win and the Saints win. But I think I'm okay either way. There's no need. I was thinking of possibly going for a middle with the Falcons plus the points, and I still may do that. Saints, Falcons, let's go. Maybe I'll offer this breakdown. The Saints opened up at -4. They've now moved to 4.5. This total opened up at 40, juice to the under. It's now a pick 'em. We go over to the cash flow in this spot. We have 2,332 tickets in. 54% of the tickets, 82% of the cash is on the Saints. And then we have 22% of the tickets on the under, 37% cash on the under. So public moving on the over. Brady says take the Falcons money line here then. I still wouldn't mind the middle here. What would I get on the Falcons money line? Let's just quickly move over here. It is an interesting idea, taking the Falcons money line +175. Okay, New Orleans comes in off an underwhelming 18-10 home victory over the Panthers. They were down 10-9 at the half before outscoring the Panthers 9-0 in the second half. Taysom Hill was 17-28 for 222 yards, 1 touchdown, no interceptions. He also ran 12 times for 45 yards. Marquez Callaway had 6 receptions for 97 yards. Alvin Kamara ran 13 times for 32 yards and caught 5 passes for 68 yards and a touchdown. Birdie says lock in profit. I get that idea, Birdie. But I wouldn't mind winning both, The defense swarmed Sam Darnold. The defense finished with 7 sacks, 8 quarterback hits. Cam Jordan was a monster with 3.5 sacks. CJ Gardner-Johnson had a pick for 18 yards that sealed the game. And the Saints were a mess. I mean, they're playing pretty good. They have right tackle Cesar Ruiz is the only starting lineman left, only one that played last week. Left tackle Teron Armstead was scratched for the 6th time in 8 games. Right tackle Ryan Ramczyk and center Eric McCoy both were on the COVID-19 reserve. And left guard Andrews Pete has been on injured reserve since late October. So I'm going to pull up the injury report, see if there's been any changes there for these New Orleans Saints. because it's been messy, and they have added players to the COVID list. Yesterday, Will Lutz. He's got an abdomen injury. Anyways, Jalen Dalton was moved to the reserve COVID list, but he's been on IR anyway, so I guess that doesn't matter either. Nick Vanette was moved to the reserve COVID list. So maybe it's not as bad as I was imagining. Okay, and that means that Teron Armstead is off of the COVID list, but he's questionable to play. But Armstead is off of the COVID list. That could be a big deal. Ramczyk and Eric McCoy. Eric McCoy is still questionable, but Ramczyk is. Here he is. He's still on the COVID list, Ryan Ramczyk. All right. Okay, Falcons coming off a 29-15 loss at Buffalo to eliminate them from the playoffs. They were up 15-14.5. They played well. Matt Ryan was 13-23 for 197 yards, no touchdowns, no picks. He also lost a fumble. Kyle Pitts, 2 more receptions for 69 yards. He set the franchise rookie record for yards receiving. He became the NFL's second rookie tight end to top 1,000 yards receiving. With 1,018 yards, he broke the team's rookie record set by Julio Jones, who had 959 in 2011. And within 58 yards of the NFL record for rookie tight ends set in 1961 by Mike Ditka. Russell Gage had 3 catches for 50 yards. Mike Davis had 8 carries for 42 yards and a touchdown. He also caught a 15-yard pass. Foye Oluokun continues to play excellent. 13 tackles, 1 interception. Falcons defense got interceptions from A.J. Terrell and Jerron Harmon. The secondary limited Josh Allen to 11-26 for 120 yards and a career worst 17 passing rating. They finished with just 1 sack and 3 quarterback hits. And these Falcons have Kyle Pitts with a hamstring injury, questionable. And Tajay Sharp on the reserve COVID list, as is Hayden Hurst, so wide receiver and tight end. Offensive tackle Jason Spriggs on the COVID list. Defensive end Jonathan Bullard. Safety Jalen Hawkins. Linebacker James Vaughters. Defensive tackle Marlon Davidson, all on the COVID list. Take it away here, Bebsie. Saints, Falcons.
I know the Saints have playoff implications. If they win and the Niners lose, they're in. But it feels like a weird line. 4.5 playing Atlanta in Atlanta seems fishy to me. And, I kind of like the Falcons in this spot. I think just the injuries and the COVID issues with New Orleans, I think it's a really tough spot, and there's just something fishy about this line. Again, I understand there's playoffs on the line for the Saints, and none for Atlanta, but Atlanta, man, they'd love to play spoiler against a division rival. So I think this is a tough spot. I'm off it personally. I think it's the Falcons or nothing here.
And the Falcons care because it's a divisional rival, and they always step up against the Saints. Is that your thought process?
They do. They play the Saints tough, and it's pronounced Falcons.
All right, so nothing for you here. You don't want to take the 4.5?
It feels like a strange line to me. Something's up in this, and I don't know what it is yet. And I feel like I want to watch the numbers in this game, or I want to watch this throughout the week and see what happens. You're saying all this money coming in on the Saints, right? 80% of the cash?
At this point, yes, and it's moved from 4 to 4.5.
Yeah, that makes me want to bet on Atlanta.
Okay, well, anytime you want to pull the trigger, let me know. Let's move on to New York Jets, Buffalo. Buffalo 16.5 point favorites here. This total opened up at 45.5. It's now at 43.5. Wow. Take a look at the cash here in this Jets Bills game. 2,799 tickets in. 18% of the tickets are on Buffalo. But whoever has done it has made a huge bet on the Bills because they have 99% of the cash. Now, all that will change when the next 80,000 tickets come in. We have 50-50 on the total, but 92% of the cash is on the under. And Mad Capper says pull the trigger on the Falcons. Top set, did we cash that? Please tell me we cashed that. I'm trying not to look. Jets, Bills, Highmark Stadium, Orchard Park, New York. Jets played tough in the close 28-24 loss at home to the Bucs. Zach Wilson was 19 of 33 for 234 yards and a touchdown. Braxton Berrios caught 8 passes for 65 yards and a touchdown. He also ran twice for 12 yards and a touchdown. He did lose a fumble. Michael Carter ran 3 times for 54 yards before leaving the game with a concussion. He's in protocol. Austin Walter then ran 14 times for 49 yards. C.J. Mosley was excellent with 13 tackles. Brandon Echols had an interception. And the Jets had 1 sack, 4 quarterback hits. Noah Fant left the game with a knee injury. And tight end Dan Brown left in the second quarter with a hip injury and did not return. This is Michael Carter in concussion protocol. Let's start with the COVID issues here. They have linebacker Jared Davis. We know how important he can be. He's in COVID protocol. We have shifted from injury reserve. Tight end Tyler Croft in COVID protocol. Running back Tevin Coleman in COVID protocol. Then Fant did not injure his ACL, so he's trying to play, I guess. Kyle Phillips was placed on the reserve COVID list yesterday, defensive end, and Jamison Crowder inactive last week and questionable this week. Let's move on to these Buffalo Bills. A very healthy Buffalo Bills spot. Bills coming off an underwhelming 29-15 victory at home over the Falcons. Buffalo now only needs to beat the New York Jets in its final this weekend to clinch its second consecutive division title and ensure the Bills' home field advantage for the wild card playoff round. They were down 15-14 at the half. Josh Allen was terrible, 11 of 26, 120 yards, 3 interceptions, 17 passer rating. He did run 15 times for 81 yards and 2 touchdowns. Stephon Diggs had 5 receptions for 52 yards. Devin Singletary stepped up when the Bills needed him. He ran 23 times for 110 yards and 2 touchdowns. The Bills' 233 yards rushing were the most since the team had 244 in a 23 win over Denver 2 years ago. The Bills' defense played tough. They finished with 5 sacks, 8 quarterback hits. Emmanuel Sanders is day-to-day with a knee injury. Offensive tackle Ryan Bates also day-to-day with a knee injury. And Tre'Davious White back on the IR from the COVID list. And they're a pretty healthy squad right now, healthier than they've been in some time. Brady says Jets have been playing real well in the first half, but Jets head coach calls out his offensive coordinator publicly, makes himself look like an idiot. Bills first quarter, Bills first half, stay off full game. Damon Santori says, you guys remember when the Patriots were back and Bills were going to miss the playoffs? The NFL narrative changes so much. Drinking hand is Bills 34-13, period. Take it away here, Bebsie. Bills 16.5-point favorites at home.
I can't believe I'm saying this, but do we have a weather report?
Yes, and Keg's live shows only is talking about the wind in Buffalo.
Dangerously windy conditions.
8. So we have rain and snow, and we have 18 mile per hour light rain and 18 mile per hour winds.
Then I think you have to take the Jets with the points. As much as Buffalo needs this win, and they will get it. We've seen the way this Bills teams operates in terrible weather, and it's not well. Again, they're playing the Jets. The Jets, not a great football team. I don't know how I did, but what Birdie's talking about, did Robert Saleh call out LaFleur? I missed that entirely. I'm shocked. They're old buddies. So that's weird. I don't know how much of a factor that will be because they're friends, but yeah, I just think this game winds up being a bit closer because of weather, because Buffalo operates a little slower in the weather than other teams do. So 17 points is just too much. So I think it's Jets or no play here.
Jets or no play. I get it. It's a lot of points.
It's a lot of points.
Archie Bunker 20. I am hitting this gift from Not Flush Allen to try and battle my way through this show. Not feeling well, so I'm using the power that this Jameson Black Label will give me. Mad Capper says Jets don't have any talent. Danny Lopez asking, what is the Jets team total? Let's move over to the Jets team total right now on Pinnacle because they usually give us the best line. The Jets team total here is 13.5, juiced heavily to the under. It's low. Dennis Garcia said the playoff teams Buffalo's beaten this year. Chiefs, Patriots, so overrated. Joe Jones.
It was about that fourth down. You know what? I kind of don't blame Saleh. I thought that was an idiotic call. I laughed at that call as they did it and said the Jets deserve to lose. How do you call a sneak on 4th and 2?
Yeah, it was made no sense. Made no sense. Jets, Bills. Do you want to make the New York Jets an official play, Bebsie?
Oh God, that sounds so gross when you say it out loud.
Well, you got time to think it over.
Can I think about it?
Yes, you can. Yes, you can. All right, let's roll on. We are in afternoon action. Next up, San Francisco 49ers, 9-7, 5-3 on the road at LA Rams, 12-4, 5-2 at home. Man, it's not an easy route to the playoffs now for these 49ers. We're at SoFi Stadium in Inglewood, California. Let's start with the market here. We have, oh, shoot, sorry, that's the wrong one. Pull this up here. All right, we have these Niners opening up as 6-point dogs, quickly down to 4, immediately down to 4. Didn't take long. There's total opening up of 44.5. There are a couple 44s on the board. When we go over to the cash flow, we have 2,761 tickets in, 29% of the tickets, 91% of the cash on the Rams. Wow. Public on the Niners, but big bets on the Rams. And it's moved 2 points towards the Niners. So confusing information there. 8% of tickets on the under, 52% of cash on that under. Niners coming off an underwhelming 23-7 win at home over the Texans can clinch their second postseason appearance in 5 years under Shanahan with a win next week against the Rams or a loss by the Saints. They were down at the half 7-3 and outscored the Texans 20-0 in the second half. With Jimmy G injured, Trey Lance was 16-23 for 249 yards, 2 touchdowns, 1 interception. Lance led the Niners to 5 scores on their final 7 drives. Brandon Ayuk continued his late season ascent, catching 4 passes for 91 yards. Deebo Samuel caught 3 passes for 63 yards and a touchdown. Elijah Mitchell ran 21 times for 94 yards. The Niners defense was strong, finished with 3 sacks, 8 quarterback hits. Marcel Harris had a pick. Shanahan says he expects Garoppolo to be able to throw at practice on Wednesday and that he will have a better idea of who will start the finale then. COVID issues. Cornerback Dante Johnson, this all yesterday. Cornerback Jimmy Ward, cornerback Kawan Williams, all on the reserve COVID list yesterday. I wonder how that will hurt them. We'll let Bebsie break it down for us. Rams coming off their 5th straight game with a big 2019 victory at the Ravens. They're on the cusp of their 2nd straight NFC West title. They were down 16-7 after 3 quarters. Stafford 26-35 for 309 yards, 2 touchdowns, 2 picks. He also lost a fumble. Cooper Kupp continued his spectacular season. He caught 6 passes for 95 yards and a touchdown. Tyler Higbee caught 6 passes for 69 yards. Sony Michel ran 19 times for 74 yards and a touchdown. The defense was strong. 5 sacks, 7 quarterback hits. Jordan Fuller had an interception. Safety Nick Scott suffered a broken thumb in the wind. And Cam Akers was inactive last week. A lot of people thought he'd be in the lineup. He was inactive, and he's listed as questionable this week. Here we go. Bebsie, Niners, Rams, a lot on the line. Take it away.
Well, first of all, it benefits both of these teams to tie. So what they should do is agree ahead of time to not run any plays, kneel the entire game, tie. They both benefit greatly. But if you must I think you have to take the Niners and the points. My big hang up on this is there's major personnel questions, I think, for both teams. The Rams being who is actually going to start. If Stafford is indeed nursing injuries, are we going to see him for the whole game? And San Francisco, we don't know who's playing quarterback. We can assume Lance because Kyle Shanahan said if Jimmy Garoppolo is 100%, then he's going to play. But how can you be 100% 2 weeks removed from tearing a ligament in a finger in your throwing hand? So I think it probably ends up being Trey Lance, who once he settled down last week was very good, impressive at times, showing off why they drafted him so early. But big question marks in that secondary. If K'Wan Williams is out and Jimmy Ward is out and they can't play, I don't think there's a more important nickel corner that is never talked about than K'Wan Williams. That guy's an absolute stud. They miss him greatly when he's not in the lineup. So unless he comes back from COVID, that's a huge problem, especially facing Cooper Kupp on the other side. Now, the other thing is Mosley Greenlaw might be back. Alshire is not. So there's some serious question marks on this San Francisco defense. Plus, it's 5 straight wins for San Francisco against the Rams. Shanahan seems to just be in McVay's head. But the thing I hate about that is if you bet on that, and this is much like the Jags thing I was talking about earlier and why it was silly and I wouldn't take the Jags. If you're betting based on that insinuates that the streak will never end and they'll always just win. So it's a really, really tough call here. I think I have to lean the Niners and the points. But only because they're being given points here. I understand that being bet down quickly. If you got the 6, congratulations. I think this is a very tight game.
Niners, Rams, no move for Bebsie at this point. And you would prefer Trey Lance to be at quarterback for the Niners?
I just think he can do more than Jimmy, especially if Jimmy's not healthy. When Jimmy's 100%, he is an efficient game manager. When he is not, he's a bad quarterback. And we saw it. He threw away that game against the Titans. And it was because he wasn't healthy. He wasn't playing at 100%, and he was terrible. And that loss could end up costing them the playoffs. And if he comes back and plays and he's not 100%, then that really hurts the Niners. So if they announce that Jimmy is quarterback, I think you should run to bet the Rams because there's no way he's 100%.
All right. Okay, let's move on. No move for Bebsie and Niners, Rams, and no move for me at this point.
Newporter, it's both. The Raiders and the Chargers are also in that same scenario.
Let's move on to 4:25 p.m. Eastern. New England Patriots at Miami Dolphins. Pats 10-6, 6-1 on the road. Dolphins 8-8, 5-3 at home at Hard Rock Stadium in Miami Gardens, Florida. All right, Pats, Dolphins. Let's start with the market move here. We have New England opening up as 5.5-point favorites. That's moved to 6.5 or 7, depending on where you shop. This total is still sitting at 40 with no movement. We go over to the cash flow, and we have, where are we here? We have 3,190 tickets in, 52% of the tickets and 86% of the cash on the Patriots, and market moving towards them. 28% of the tickets, 63% of cash on the under. Keg's live show only says Pat's got to win. Patriots coming off a 50-10 beatdown of the Jacksonville Jaguars to clinch a playoff berth. The victory snapped a 2-game losing streak and gave Belichick his 20th 10-win season as a head coach, tying Don Shula for the most in NFL history. They were up 41-3 after 3 quarters. Mac Jones 22 of 30 for 227 yards, 3 touchdowns, no interceptions. Set a franchise record for touchdown passes by a rookie with 21. Kendrick Bourne caught 5 passes for 76 yards. Jacoby Meyer caught 8 for 73 and a touchdown. And Christian Wilkerson, fresh off the practice roster, keeps rolling. caught 4 passes for 42 yards and 2 touchdowns. Ramondre Stevenson had 19 carries for 107 yards and 2 touchdowns. Damian Harris had 9 carries for 35 yards and 2 touchdowns before leaving with a hamstring injury. He says that he's fine. I don't know what you want to take with that. Miles Bryant had an interception and is being placed on the COVID list. He was placed on the COVID list yesterday. Kyle Duggar and J.C. Jackson both had interceptions as well. Jackson's interception, the 25th of his career. He is the 4th player in the Super Bowl era with at least 25 interceptions in his first 4 seasons, joining Hall of Famer Lem Barney, Lester Hayes, and Everson Walls. Christian Barmore and Donta Hightower had sacks. Nelson Aguilar, inactive last week, listed as questionable this week. Dolphins had their 7-game winning streak snapped in an ugly 34-3 loss at Tennessee that ended their playoff hopes. Tagovailoa, 18 of 38 for 205 yards, no touchdowns and a pick. He was sacked 4 times, the season high for him. He also fumbled 3 times, losing 1 of them. Gesicki was the leading receiver, catching 4 passes for 51 yards. Jalen Waddle caught 3 passes for 47 yards. He needed 6 catches for the rookie receptions mark of 101 set by Anquan Bolden. He got 3. So 3 more. He's just 2 back, 3 more, and he has the record. Duke Johnson ran 7 times for 49 yards. The defense couldn't get stops or pressure. They finished with just 1 sack and 2 quarterback hits. Miami linebacker Landon Roberts hurt his groin early in the 3rd quarter. He's listed as questionable. And Sheldrick Redwine remains on the COVID list. Brady says, I'm waiting and taking Miami with the points. Belichick's going to keep this game close and limit turnovers. Pats just need to win and not cover, limit turnovers, and they win. They didn't do that the first game and lost. Take it away here, Bebsie. We have the Patriots and the Dolphins.
After getting smashed by the Dolphins in week 1, I don't know if I want to bet against Belichick here. An abysmal performance this week from Miami, but Miami's been great the second half of the season. That's no secret. So I'm not going to let last week deter me too much because the points are intriguing here. 7 points with Miami and the way, Flores has played the Pats. So I don't know. I've been flip-flopping on this game since I first looked at it. I do think I lean Miami in the points just because the spread is big. And look, Belichick can blow out a team like the Jacksonville Jaguars with this team, but in an important game against a division rival, I think he plays a conservative game here. So I think points is the lean. But damn, I do not want to bet against Bill Belichick with playoff implications, especially with the division still up for grabs. This is a tough spot.
It is a tough spot here. Patriots, Dolphins. Again, I'm Prince of the City wondering if Bebsie is going to San Antonio. Good question. I hope he is.
First time hearing of it.
Big party in San Antonio last 2 weeks of March. Big one. Nuffle Sean said, I told you Pats would put up a big number on Sunday. And this week it'll be team total over again with the Patriots. So are you leaning towards Flores keeping this within 7?
I think so. I think he's coached well against Bill. And I think their defense is good enough to hem in this Pats offense. I disagree with Nutflush Allen here. I think putting up big numbers against the Jags versus putting up big numbers against Miami is 2 very different things.
All right, so no move at this point in Patriots Dolphins. No move.
No. Heavy lean Dolphins in the points.
Heavy lean towards the Dolphins and the points. Let's keep rolling. Next up, 4:25 p.m. Eastern. Seattle Seahawks 6-10, 3-5 on the road. At Arizona Cardinals 11-5, 3-4 at home. We're at State Farm Stadium in Glendale, Arizona. We already had a back and forth about this game in the chat. We have Arizona opening up as 6.5-point favorites, and the total sitting at 48. from a cash flow standpoint, we have 2,597 tickets, 42% of the tickets, 76% of the cash on the Cardinals. 95% of tickets on the over, but just 68% of cash on that over. Seahawks come in off beating up the Lions at home 51-29, fifth 50-point game in franchise history and first since 2012 when Seattle beat Buffalo 50-17 here in Toronto. Seattle was up 31-7 at the half. Russell Wilson was 28-29 for 236 yards, 4 touchdowns, no picks. DK Metcalf caught 6 passes for 63 yards and 3 touchdowns. Freddie Swain caught 2 passes for 65 yards. Rashad Penny was rolling, 25 carries for a career high, 170 yards and 2 touchdowns. He has 481 yards rushing over the past 4 weeks. 0 sacks, but did get 5 quarterback hits. DJ Reed had 2 picks. Ugo Amadi had 1. And Bobby Wagner suffered a sprained knee. He's diagnosed with sprains to the MCL and PCL in his knee. Shouldn't require surgery, but will not be in this game on Sunday. Cornerback John Reed's in concussion protocol. Tight end Will Dissly is questionable with a heel injury. Carlos Dunlap, questionable with an ankle injury. He's going to try to play. Running back Alex Collins, offensive tackle Brandon Shell were inactive, and their list is questionable this week. Their COVID list includes cornerback Bleswan Austin, guard Damian Lewis, cornerback Sidney Jones, and defensive end Alton Robinson. Arizona snapped their 3-game losing streak with a big 25-22 win at Dallas. We were on Cardinals. It was nice and easy. Cardinals reached 25 points for just the second time in 7 games. Kyler Murray continued his dominance in his hometown. 8-0 as a starter in the Cowboys' home. Most of that came as a high schooler. He finished 26 of 38 for 263 yards, 2 touchdowns, no picks. Christian Kirk caught 6 passes for 79 yards. AJ Green caught 3 for 74. Antoine Wesley continued rolling. 4 catches for 30 yards, 2 touchdowns. He has Arizona's last 3 touchdowns. Chase Edmonds had 18 carries for 53 yards and caught 5 passes for 29 yards. The defense kept Dallas off balance and completely shut down their ground attack. Dallas finished with 17 carries for 47 yards. Cardinals had 1 sack, 6 quarterback hits. And they have said that DeAndre Hopkins will return if the Cardinals advance to the NFC Championship game. Linebackers Marcus Golden and Devon Kennard and offensive tackle DJ Humphries are on the COVID list. Running back James Conner, tight end Demetrius Harris, defensive end Jordan Phillips, wide receiver Mondale Moore, and quarterback Marco Wilson were inactive last week and are listed as questionable this week. Should the Cardinals be 6.5 points favorites here in the final game of the year for the Seahawks?
Well, just to address before we dive into this one, because the game's still up because Jose's passed out drunk or wildly betting somebody else steak dinners. But while the game is still up, Nuke, San Francisco clinches a playoff berth with a win or a tie, according to NFL.com. New Orleans, or scenario number 2, New Orleans loses or ties. So yes, a tie does in fact get the 49ers into the playoffs. As for this game, I think it's too many points to give Arizona against a division rival listen, I said I wanted to sit back and see what Seattle would do being mathematically eliminated. Yes, they were playing Boyle and the lowly Detroit Lions, but they put up 51 points. And I think they would love to fuck with Arizona here. So I think I might take Seattle with the points here.
It feels like a letdown spot for the Cards here. Can they move up? Oh, yes. If they win and the Rams lose,
they can still take the division.
Oh, wow.
Oh, wait. Hang on. I got to check that now.
Yeah, the Rams have not
have the division sewn up.
No, they have not clinched. The Rams have not clinched the division. I checked that out today. They have not clinched. No.
Yeah. Oh, yeah. So, again, this is what Nuke and I were talking about. So, if the Rams win, they'll finish 12.5 wins. Arizona can, at best, finish with 12 wins. So, it does benefit both teams to tie.
Are you going to move on these Seahawks?
I think I'm going to. I think they love to come out and play spoiler here.
Let's see what I can get you here. Let's see what I can get you, Bebsy. Here we go. The Seahawks are plus 6.5 at plus 102, which leads me to believe that this will become a 7 very soon. Let me see if there are any 7s. There's a 7 at Bodog. There's a 7 at Bodog at minus 115. Does that interest you?
That interests me. That interests me greatly, Jimmy.
Well, let's lock it in for you. Bebsy is moving.
It's okay, Nuke Worker. Still love you, baby.
Plus 7 at minus 115, available at Bodog. Josh Gillum says it could be Wilson's and Carroll's last game together. I believe it will be. So I believe it will be their last game together. I believe one of them will be gone. I think it'll be old Pete Carroll will be gone.
I think Seattle, but I think the organization would be crazy to move on from Russ in favor of Pete Carroll.
I agree.
Turnsey wants to know, quick question, what do I do? What do I need to do to get in a fight with the best? Birdie can't get all that action. If you're implying me, I popped a rib laughing at my friend the other day, so I wouldn't call myself the best. But also, I don't want to fight you. You got Bob Probert as your avatar. I can't fight you. I'm gonna die. The spirit of Probert will own me.
Right, we're still in afternoon action. Let's move on to 4:25 p.m. Eastern. Carolina Panthers 5-11, 3-5 on the road. Tampa Bay Buccaneers 12-4, 6-1 homer at Raymond James Stadium in Tampa, Florida. We have the Panthers, and again, if you have any interest in Carolina, wait. I know that there's been a 2-point move towards them. Now that minus 10 was at plus 110, so it doesn't really count. But I know there's been a 2-point move towards, or at least a point or point and a half move towards Carolina. But the public will come in on Tampa, as they always do. This total opened up at 42.5 and has dropped a point to 41.5. Let's take a look at the cash. In the cash, we have 2,559 tickets in, 81% of the tickets on Tampa, 78% of the cash. And then 67% of tickets on the under. We don't know the cash on the under at this point. Brady says, why have the Bucs not released Brown? I thought it was a done deal. I thought he was released. But I guess they haven't done the paperwork? I guess. Is that facts? I thought it was just done deal.
There's no way.
I thought it was a done deal. Panthers coming off an 18-10 loss at New Orleans. They were leading 10-9. 10-9 at the half, but we're shut out in the second half. Carolina has lost 11 of 13 games. Matt Rule's got to be done for. Got to be done for. Oh, Prince of the City says so no one can pick him up. Of course.
That would be petty. I mean, I get it, but this is a playoff team that needs every single number on that roster. You can't carry a guy out of spite.
Sam Darnold got his start and was poor. 17 of 26 for 132 yards, no touchdowns, 1 interception. He also lost a fumble. He didn't complete a pass over 21 yards. Ian Thomas led receivers with just 3 catches for 33 yards. Chuba Hubbard had 17 carries for 55 yards and a touchdown. Their defense kept them in the game. Their defense has been good all year. They finished with 2 sacks and 5 quarterback hits. And Hassan Reddick still on the COVID list. That's a big loss for them. So is defensive tackle Phil Hoskins, defensive tackle Davion Nixon, quarterback PJ Walker, cornerback J.C. Horn, tight end Tommy Tremble, center Matt Paradis. Stephon Gilmore was inactive last week and is questionable this week. Buccaneers coming off a wild 28-24 win at the Jets. Antonio Brown lost his shit, threw his jersey and gloves into the stands in the third quarter, promptly released from the team, but I guess he hasn't been. I guess he hasn't been released from the team, but that's what were told. Brady kept his cool, finished 34 of 50 for 410 yards, 3 touchdowns, and 1 interception. David Spade put out a funny tweet. David Spade wrote, Antonio Brown's in my driveway. What should I do? Rob Gronkowski finished with 7 catches for 115 yards. Cyril Grayson caught 6 passes for 81 yards and a touchdown. They struggled on the ground without Leonard Fournette. Keyshawn Vaughn, 8 carries for 31 yards. Ronald Jones, 10 carries for 26 yards. Le'Veon Bell, 3 carries for 5 yards. The defense did not look good. They couldn't put up enough pressure on Wilson. They finished with 1 sack and 4 quarterback hits. Ronald Jones, ankle injury. Rashard Robinson, groin injury. Both didn't return. And let's see if they've added anybody to the COVID list quickly for these Bucks. And no, they have not added anybody. Giovanni Bernardo. Arian said he could return from the injured reserve ahead of Sunday's game against Carolina. They could sure use him. Keyshawn Vaughn is dealing with bruised ribs. Ronald Jones is awaiting results from an MRI on his ankle. Shaquille Barrett out. Rashard Robinson questionable with that groin injury. And Richard Sherman, JPP, and Justin Watson were all inactive last week, questionable this week. Take it away here. Chris Brady said the LSU about to get blown out. It's about as easy as gambling gets. And great work by us to get the fucking take it away, Bebsie. Panthers, Bucks.
I don't know. The Bucks got to be reeling a little bit here. So I understand the intrigue of going with the Panthers. But how do the Panthers do anything at this stage in the season on the road against a team led by Tom Brady that, listen, they know they're vulnerable on the road and they can't clinch home field advantage, but they can still get into that 2 spot, which means they'll at least play another game at home. I don't know how you can bet against the Bucks this week. I think it's got to be Bucks or no play. I understand the Antonio Brown thing. I don't know how much of a distraction it'll be. If anything, they just miss him on the field with Godwin out, with Fournette hurt. It's just you don't want to lose him. And as funny as some of the shit was on the internet is undefeated with comedy. Listen, I can laugh at funny stuff and also feel bad for Antonio Brown at the same time. He's obviously got some serious mental health issues, and maybe he should never put on a helmet again and get into a game. But I don't see him coming back as much as you guys are having fun in the chat. I just can't see it. But listen, I don't know how you bet against the Bucks when this means something to them. This is Super Bowl champs. And they're playing frankly a dog shit team, and they can try to play spoiler all they want. They have no options at quarterback, none. So how do they keep pace with this team?
Yeah, I'll take over the graphics now. I didn't realize how easy it was. So I will. I don't know where Jose is, but I will take care of the graphics now. There you have it. So I don't believe you're going to get a better number than -8. Do you want that -8?
I think I do. I really think I do. I don't know how Carolina keeps this close. As bad as that offense looked, they'll figure it out. They will. Mike Evans is going to get 200 yards this week.
Well, let's lock you in here. We have 8 on the board. Let's see what Circa is hanging. Circa is hanging a 9. And let's go over to Penny. And Penny's hanging an 8. -8 at -102. Almost no juice. All right, Betsy's locked in.
At what point do we worry about Jose?
I'm sure everything's going to be okay. I'm sure there'll be a great. It might be a scary story. Maybe we're best not to ask about it. Buccaneers -8 and -102 at Pinnacle. All right, we move on to the final game on the card, flexed to the Sunday night late game. And there's a lot on the line. Winner gets in. Let me move this over here. Los Angeles Chargers 9-7, 4-3 on the road at Las Vegas Raiders 9-7, 4-4 at home at Allegiant Stadium in Las Vegas, Nevada. Danny Lopez is right. So the show's almost done, but if he doesn't show up tomorrow morning, that's concerning. I agree with that. Okay. Here we go. The Chargers open up at -3. Pinnacle, they're still threes, but you can't get them at 3.5. Heavily juiced for the +3.5 side. The -3.5 at Pinnacle's at +111. That's what they're putting on the board right now. We know that the public's going to be all over the Chargers here. We have 2,975 tickets. 59% of the tickets, 86% of the cash on the Chargers. 63% of tickets, 71% of cash on the over. Chargers come into this winner takes all.
Fucking Chad is killing it right now, ripping Jose's steak dinners. Crystal Warren's got a great one. James S. has got a great one. Raising cattle. That is beautiful.
Raising cattle. So
Jose
good.
is getting his fingers broken. Owes too many steak dinners in San Antonio from Turnsley. But seriously, I hope he's okay.
Justin Herbert, 22 of 31 for 237 yards, 2 touchdowns, no interceptions. AFC starter for the Pro Bowl, 35 touchdowns this season, surpassing Phillip Rivers' 2008 mark of 34. Also became the fastest player to reach 800 career completions, 31 games, 23 years of age, 298 days, the second youngest player in league history to get to 65 touchdown passes. Mike Williams caught 3 passes for 63 yards and a touchdown. Austin Eckler ran 17 times for 58 yards and a touchdown, caught 3 passes for 54 yards. He scored a touchdown in 7 straight games. 7 straight games. B-Ball says, can't wait for this game. Heading to Vegas and repping the Chargers hard. B-Ball, my guy, hung out with him at Santa Anita just on the 26th, just a week ago. Andre Roberts became the first Charger since 2012 to score on a kickoff return. Kaiser White had 11 tackles. Their red zone defense was excellent. They finished with 1 sack, 3 quarterback hits. They snapped a 10-game streak of allowing at least 21 points. They held the Broncos to 81 yards rushing. Center Corey Lindsley came out in the first quarter due to a back injury and did not return. He's listed as questionable this week. Safety Mark Webb Jr. with a knee injury. Linebacker Kyler Fackrell were designated to return from the injured reserve last Wednesday. They will help. Tight end Jared Cook remains on the reserve COVID list, and linebacker Dre Tranquil was inactive last week and is listed as questionable this week. The Raiders coming off a very impressive 23-20 win at Indianapolis to keep their playoff hopes alive. If they get in, Derek Carr deserves votes for most valuable player because he's kept this ship sailing and he's been spectacular. His character should never be questioned again. Very, very impressive stuff from him. He was 24-31 for 255 yards, touchdown, 2 interceptions, but that is a career high 14 interceptions on the season. 29th career game-winning drive. Zay Jones caught 8 passes for 120 yards. Hunter Renfrow had 7 catches for 76 yards and a touchdown. Josh Jacobs, 16 carries for 63 yards and a touchdown. The defense was strong. They bent but didn't break. Finished with 1 sack, 7 quarterback hits. They still have some issues with COVID. Defensive tackle Kendall Vickers, defensive end Carl Nassib, who's been injured, guard Jordan Simmons, and tight end Darren Waller all on the COVID list. And defensive tackle Jonathan Hankins was inactive last week and is listed as questionable this week. Here we go. This is the big game of the night. And the winner gets in. Take it away, Bebsie. 3-point spread, Chargers Raiders.
Listen, I want. This is going to sound crazy, especially coming from a Niners fan, but given what the Raiders have gone through this year, I want them to win. I want them to win and get in. Carr deserves it. You're right about him deserving. At least he's not going to win it, but he at least deserves a mention in the MVP race. He has held this team together through one of the more tumultuous seasons I can remember. And now they're saying in the chat they found another Raiders DB got a DUI. Like, they need this shit. If this is accurate, then bet the Chargers right now. Like, do we have confirmation on this? It feels like a few people are saying this.
The only thing I was going over was the Dupree fight that he had. Tennessee Titans Dupree, their linebacker. I could look it up, though.
Everyone's agreeing on this. So this happened yesterday, a few days ago. Says Burgundy Bets. Oh man, they can't catch a break. My heart wants the Raiders to win. I really do. I think that team's been through so much this year. The Chargers are just a better football team, really. But I'm kind of sick of the Chargers disappointing me. It's year in, year out. I'm like, oh, this is the year where they won't be mediocre to bad. And here they are at 9-7, which is, slightly above mediocre.
And Bogey says Hobbs fell asleep at the wheel. Birdie says the show works because I carry the toughness that Bebsie lacks.
Oh, wow.
Now
I have to beat the absolute shit out of Birdie. I'm going to feel bad about it. I am.
Alex Pavone is going to move on the Raiders. He thinks that this is all of the public is going to be on the Chargers, and he thinks it's another situation where the public loses. That's what Pavone thinks.
Yeah, I can appreciate that.
Well, Week 18 of the NFL season is full of trickery, and after what happened to me 3 years ago, I'm very, very cautious. So I've made very little moves here. Bebsie's made a few moves. I am going to make some moves. I just didn't want to get talked into anything. And it's pretty easy to get talked into spots here. And I didn't want to turns the winner goes to the playoffs. So I do believe that the Chargers -3 is not going to be available for long. If you see 3.5s across the board, you should be happy that you're on the Chargers. If this stays at 3 at a pick'em and all of the public is on the Chargers, I would be very concerned. Bebsie, did you want to make the Chargers or Raiders a pick here? And what do you think about this total? This total opening at 48.5 and is already up to 49.5.
Look, we know the Chargers are capable of putting up points, but the Raiders' offense has not been the same since they lost Ruggs. They've had some good games here and there, but he was such an important field stretcher for them that opened up so much more. So they've been able to finally put it together and start putting up some more points, but they haven't been a high-octane offense since. So I think I lean under in this one.
Interesting. I'll repeat, my man Chris, we have 3,038 tickets in, 59% of the tickets on the Chargers and 86% of the cash. So big bets coming on the Chargers, then 63% of tickets on the over and 71% of cash on the over. So clearly, Chargers and over is a public spot here. That is your big game at 8:20 p.m. Eastern. Let's go over every game and talk about the official picks here. So I want the Chiefs first half and full game. I think they set a tone on Saturday in the first game of Week 18. So I'm going to sit on that tonight, but I think I do move. Bebsie not moving on that one at this point. Then I want the first half over if Minshew is in the Cowboys-Eagles. I'm going to take a little time and wait. Turnsey, by the way, says if it goes to 3.5, he'll bet the Raiders, and Emmanuel Vasquez is on the over.
I think I would join Turnsey if it goes to 3.5. I might take the Raiders.
Then I wonder if the Browns have just given up on everything and the Bengals -3 is a spot with Brandon Allen at quarterback. I know I was saying Jake Allen. I apologize for that. Goaltender for the Blues. Packers-Lions, no movement here. Got to see. They're not allowing Packers first quarter or first half to be a bet. All the books have it off the board because if Rodgers is in, that's going to cash. So that's where we stand there. Next up, Bears-Vikings, two teams that don't care and no move at this point. But we want to see if Kirk Cousins is in. Then Bebsie starts his card with Washington -6.5, -115, and I get it. I think Heineke, we know that he's got $125,000 to make tomorrow. So I think Washington first half full game works. I love you, Turnsey, man. Then we have Colts, Jaguars, no action, but Bebsie had some interest in the Jags. Steelers, Ravens. I want the Ravens first half. I think the Ravens first half at home here at -3. I think that's a worthwhile bet. Then Bebsie's on the Titans first half -6 at -118 at Pinnacle. And I have interest in that first half under. I think the Titans come to play and they take it very seriously. Then nothing in Saints Falcons, but I am interested. I have the Falcons under 7.5 wins at +100. And I'm interested in trying the middle. Jets Bills, no action, but Bebsy did have some interest on the Jets. Niners,
a lot of points.
Niners, Rams, no action for either of us. Patriots, Fish, no action, but Bebsy did have some interest in Flores and the Fish. Then Bebsy moved on the Seahawks +7 at -115 at Bodog and Seahawks Cardinals. I did not. Bebsy moved on the Buccaneers -8 at -102 and Panthers Buccaneers. I also did not. Then Chargers Raiders, no moves for either of us. And that is week 18 of the NFL. Slatsy says, thank you guys so much for making Tuesdays great. Much love, Slatsy. I have no time to rest. I will be capping all night, but looks like it's going to be a good night. 1-2 in NHL is not what I want to be doing, but we're 2-0 in NBA with the Kings +6.5 live. We went heavy on K-State first half of full game, and that looks like it's too easy. So everything going well here. Nuke Worker says, good luck, fellas. Got to go 6 a.m. coming early. Love the show. Hit the like button on the way out. Thank you so much, Nuke Worker. Before I give a shout out to all the cappers that make this show special and give us insights and humor and inspire us, Bebsy, Princess City said it's a worthwhile bet. I will show up at some point in San Antonio. I love that. Prince of the City. Susie Easton says, destination excellence. Thank you. Thank you, Susie Easton. Thank you, Susie Easton. Bebsy, any last words for these great cappers supporting the show, my man?
Feels like an all-star lineup came out tonight, does it not? Like a lot of these goddamn beauties. I love seeing you guys every week. Really do appreciate you joining, giving the insight, supporting the show. As Jimmy says all the time, we don't have a show without you. So thank you guys so much to the chat. And Jimmy, you deserve a little extra credit for toughing it out. You sound like hell at times. So you're clearly battling something, but well done, my man.
Thank you. I've never missed a show at Pub Sports Radio, and I want that to continue. But I'm not feeling my best. And,
you're the James Brown of sports capping. I've said it all along.
Chris Brady, yes, I did take the Kings at +6.5 to go to sweep the board. Burgundy Bet says, shout out to Jose, passed out in the car in his driveway. I will prepare to close this show. I will prepare to do that. It's just going to go black, though. There won't be a I should do better than that, right? I should figure out how to do this. Let's see. I could do this.
I can't get my mouth around that thing. Oh,
I can do that. And I also can yes, I can do this. Okay. On behalf of all of us at Pop Sports Radio, thank you so much for all of your support. Big shout out to Chris Brady, Danny Lopez, Nutflush Allen, Drinking Hand, Burgundy Bets, B-Ball 619, Gerald Jones, Harold Williams, Nutflush Allen, Susie Easton, Prince of the City, Terry Walker, Nuke Worker, Slatsy, Clark Kent. What a great, great group. Emmanuel Vasquez, Gerald Jones, all you guys. Thank you so much for your support. But most importantly, let's get paid. Bounce back last week, 8-3 plus 4.7 units. We're just about to get back into the black where I belong, where I want to be. So let's have a big week 18 before we roll into the playoffs. On behalf of all of us here at Pop Sports Radio, thank you guys so much for watching. Let's get this fucking cash. Let's have a giant end to a great season. Okay, that's not it. That's not it. Okay. All right. I tried, and I'm just going to let this shit go. Okay, how about this?
Everybody in the audience, now listen to me carefully, is being given a special package, and I don't want you to open it. Do not open it. Cameras are on you, so do not open until I tell you. All right? Open your boxes. Open your boxes. 1, 2, 3.
You get a steak. 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 Everybody gets a steak.